Okay, so I think the 5 minutes is up.
Yes, we can start.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum to all of you and good morning to us all. I trust you're all doing well. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine here. So today we're having Anu Al-Islamia has a program. We're having our farming techniques to starting farming, smart farming. So that's basically what we are going to discuss today. So you are all welcome once again. So I'm going to call Brother Suraj to give us a brief history about Prof Usman.
Okay.
Brother Suraj, please.
Yeah, okay, so thank you very much. Okay, so I think my camera is off. Can put it on. Okay, so you can see me, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. So alhamdulillah, so before I start, I will encourage us to mute our mics, the rest of us, with the exception of the MC, so that we can have a very good sound. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll proceed. Actually, when you are invited to give a brief profile about somebody like Prof, it's almost like you are reading a thesis, trust me. So bear with me, and inshallah, we'll benefit from it. You enjoy what knowledge is about, inshallah. So Prof. Dr. Ahmed Osman Haruna, who had his primary education at Suhum Anglican School and Kumasi Central International Ghana, respectively, is an old student of TI Medina Senior High School. So I must people, if you are in the house, you have your alumni here. And he also attended yes. So he also attended Koforidua Senior High Technical School, Koforidua, Ghana, for his advanced level and ordinary level education, respectively. He had his Bachelor of Agricultural Science at the University of Ghana, after which, being the best soil science student, he served as a teaching assistant at the Department of Soil Science, Faculty of Agriculture at the University of Ghana. Thereafter, he was awarded Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program scholarship to pursue Master of Library and Information Science at International Islamic University, Malaysia. Afterwards, Professor Dr. Ahmed Osumanu Haruna was awarded a graduate research assistantship to pursue master's and PhD programs in agriculture, that's in the area of soil fertility and management, at University Putra, Malaysia. Thereafter, he was awarded a postdoctoral research fellowship at UPM. Currently, Professor Usman lectures at UPM, where he specializes in modern agriculture, including organic, biological, conservation, and smart farming, which have significantly contributed to the growth and development of agriculture in Malaysia and elsewhere. He served as the coordinator for the Soil Science Laboratory at UPM Bintulu Campus, Sarawak, Malaysia. Also, he was the former head of Science and Technology Research Unit, Institute Ecoscience Borneo, UPM. Currently, Professor Usman is the head of the Biodiversity Laboratory Borneo, Institute Ecoscience Borneo, and the coordinator for the Soil Plant and Water Analytical Laboratory at UPM Bintulu Campus, Sarawak, Malaysia. Moreover, he is affiliated to a number of research institutes as a research associate professor. Professor Usman serves as an expert reference for many national and international institutions, that's public and private, including the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, United States Department of Agriculture, USA. At the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, USA, he served as one of their research grants external evaluators. Furthermore, Prof. Usman regularly shares his expertise with several Malaysian and foreign universities. Currently, he is an academic and non-academic board member for several institutions and organizations. Professor Usman serves as one of the juries for selecting best lecturers in teaching for UPM's Vice Chancellor Award for Teaching. Moreover, he mentors several students and early career professionals, including lecturers and researchers. Professor Usman is involved in approximately 60 research grants projects and is leading several research projects at UPM. Together with his research team, some of their innovations have been licensed to a company for commercialization. Professor Osman has filed 11 patents and 6 trademarks in the United States of America, Europe, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Additionally, Professor Osman is actively involved in technology knowledge transfer and professional consultancy services to several stakeholders, including the public and private sectors. The contribution of Professor Osman to society, the global scholarship and advancement of knowledge is extensive and profound. This is evident in the fact that he has published approximately 400 scholarly work, the breakdown being publishing 247 refereed journal papers, 18 books, 18 chapters in books, 106 papers in conference proceedings, and 11 other scholarly publications. He continues to writing popular articles for the general public. Professor Osman has served approximately 50 postdoctoral research fellows, PhD and master students. He is currently supervising 13 PhD and master students at the international, national, and university levels. That's in America, Canada, Europe, and Asia. His research innovations had won approximately 70 awards, out of which a selected few of them are listed here as follows. In fact, the awards are so many that you have to bear with me. I will have to summarize them. One, the Best Award for International Innovation Awards 2021 for the category of agriculture, livestock, horticulture, aquaculture, and fisheries at Malaysia Technology Expo and International Expo on Innovation and Technology 2021. The title of the innovation that won this best award is Organic and Inorganic Approaches for Improving Soil Health and Cash Crops Yield and Quality. Now, second, gold medal. As for the gold medals, there are so many. In fact, I'll just mention gold medal, and you will see what I'm talking about. Second, gold medal for the category of agriculture, livestock and horticulture, aquaculture and fishery at Malaysia Technology Expo. Third, gold medal at 2021 International Innovation and Competition in Canada. Fourth, gold medal at the 13th European Exhibition of Creativity and Innovation, Euro Event 2021. Special Award of Toronto International Society of Innovation and Advanced Skills. Sixth, Special Award of Turkish Inventors Association. Seventh, Special Award Diploma of Stefan Cel Mare University of Suceava, Romania. Eighth, Diploma of Excellence in Euro Event 2021. 9, Gold Medal. 10, Gold Medal, International Award of Merit by the Republic of Canada. 12, Gold Medal, 13, Gold Medal, and so forth. The gold medals are many. In fact, this clearly shows that Prof comes from a country that used to be called Gold Coast. A lot of gold medals, I can't even mention all of them. So many. We are very, very proud of Prof. Now, in 2029, he was awarded the most productive book writer at UPM. Since 2007 to date, Prof Osumanu is on UPM Excellent Service Award. In recognition of his contribution to UPM, he was awarded UPM's Vice Chancellor Award as Best Young Lecturer in Teaching and Gold Medal for being the Best Lecturer in Teaching for 2011. He is frequently invited as prominent speaker in many national and international scholarly or intellectual fora and meetings. Currently, Professor Osman is a member of several professional bodies. He continues to render public services and consultancies to many organizations. Professor Osman is an expert reference for people for Peat, that's PFP, a coalition that comprises the World Reference Institute, WRI, Indonesia, Tropical Rainforest Conservation and Research Center, that's TRCRC, Malaysia, and the Sustainable Trade Initiative, IDH, Indonesia, represent component 2, that's non-state actors and NSAs of the EU-funded sustainable use of peatland and haze mitigation in ASEAN, that's EU-SUPA projects. Thank you very much. And as you can see, I have to actually summarize, for want of time, the several awards. Like was mentioned earlier, he has over 70 awards, out of which we just selected 27. And we can read more about Prof online, inshallah. So on this note, I'll end here and hand over to Sister Amina to take over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Suraj. In fact, I also attended Tia Madia. I attended the 14th one. Thank you very much. Such a prolific, how do we say, just such a prolific person who, let's say, the psychologists will call him a high achiever. That's quite a number of achievements made there. Brother Usman, may Allah bless your effort and keep blessing it. Okay, so those that are now joining us, you are all welcome. Assalamu alaikum to you. So please, if you have any questions, you put it down. So after the session, then we'll get to the question and answers. Okay, so moving on, we have Brother Usman to continue with us. So Brother Usman, please, you're welcome once again. The baton is in your hands now.
Prof, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you for the kind introduction, and then I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this session. And I'm much grateful to Brother Raj and then the president of ANU, who I understand is Dr. Malik, and the group and all the organizing members. Thank you very much. And you, the audience, we highly appreciate your presence. I'm just here to share a few with you. That doesn't make me somebody special. It's just a sharing stage. Now, that is the topic. We're just trying to see what smart farming is about. And if Ghana were, if we as Ghanaians, if we want to go into that, what does it entail? Based on this, I will try to give you a snapshot of the current issues vis-a-vis smart farming, and then we will talk about the fundamentals of smart farming. And then we also look at soil and crop productivity in relation to smart farming. I will try as much as possible to introduce soilless agriculture, looking at the scenarios where we are heading to, and then what will be the take-home message. Please, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yes,
very audible.
Very,
right.
Very, yeah.
Now, what do you think about this picture? If we look at this, it gives some sort of a very negative impression about agriculture. And this is what we were all grown to believe, that once you get into agriculture, this is how you will look like. But I think today that is not really true. It's just something, a picture that I've painted. Now look at this also. If you see, cocoa is a golden crop in Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, but you can see how we associate cocoa farmers to poverty. So these things will have to change. And these are entry barriers that we really want to reverse. Now look at this, in this age, we are in agriculture 4.0. And then some are even agriculture 1.0. Again, these are the realities that I want us to reflect. These are just pictures that I want you to see, and then we think about it as we go, as I walk you through. Now, agriculture has moved from all these kind of things that we think. We are now in the technological era now. Man is conquering information and whatever. So here, we are even talking about agrobots. So what a human being is going to do will never be done anymore. We are going to use agrobots and the like. And then I'm going to share a number of them with you. And look at this. This is somebody in another part of the world where when you look at this, it's so nice and so beautiful. And these are all examples of what we call agrobots. And here, this agrobot will be able to even detect, weeds and whatever, and then can do the farming, what a human being should do. So basically, this is where we are heading towards. Now, again, with what we call drones and satellites and whatever, we are able to see the soil, the complexity within the soil, within spatial and temporal distribution. You can see here the distribution is completely different. Here also. So here we are talking about site-specific management. I'll go detail into these things. So what a human eye cannot see can now be seen, and we should be able to manage. You can be in your own comfort zone. As an agriculturist, this is a tractor with all sorts of gadgets that you can navigate your farm And then you could see the variation and also some of the crop improvement, what is the stress. So everything is computerized for you, and then you can see. So this is not what we call whole and cutlass kind of agriculture. That will never be. So if we are in Ghana or we are in other parts of the world, this is what others are doing. We call this vertical farming. Now, this is what somebody is doing. What prevents us from doing this? So these are the things. So these are the beauty of agriculture that I think we should be looking into, and not just look at it from another angle. This is one of my former students, just master's student. He challenged himself of trying to grow rice. He doesn't want to go to the field. He just wants to grow rice maybe at the backyard of his place or whatever. So these are some of the things that we are talking about. Let us grow even rice in what you call containers. We don't need that kind of tract of land. So these are what we call smart farming. And he even thinking of growing them in this kind of systems in a way that you don't pollute the environment, ammonia and all these kind of greenhouse gases. So this is one of the students who have he has graduated and he's working on his own project and business now. Now, let us go into the technicalities. Now, when we come back to Ghana, my main concern here is we should look at, I'm not saying, I'm talking about a general perception. We should look at agriculture as a profession. It's a serious, it has a lot of science in it. It's not just like you throw anything into the soil, you get something. It is an applied science. So that means that you need to know your basic sciences very well before you can go into agriculture, or you need to learn. And it is about time we don't call agriculture the last point of desperation. It's only when we are desperate and all options are closed, then we look at agriculture as the only option. I think this perception needs to be reversed. And never should we look at agriculture. That's why I show you the pictures for you to see. We shouldn't look at agriculture as a dirty army work, and it's only for the old folks. Again, the world has proven it to us that that is not true. 5% of the population is feeding the whole world, and US is taking that kind of bulk of the world technology. Now, it's also not a man, what they call anybody who goes in means that you are poor. There are millions of people who are making billions. Even during this COVID-19, a lot of people are making millions. My own former supervisor left in the university and developed his own, what we call a fertilizer company, and he's much into agriculture. Now he's a billionaire. So these are some of the things, and I'm not kidding. These are the realities. So we should look at agriculture as what? It's one of just the business enterprises. But for you to go in, you need to have some expertise. And these expertise are specialized in nature. It could be, you can learn them. Now, if that is the case, this is what we have to look into. These are some of the tips that I think we need to understand before we go into agriculture, any farming system. Just like in any profession, you need to understand what you are dealing with. And how do you understand it? You don't gather data. So you need to get quite a substantial amount of data. And the data itself could be useless unless you process it into information. So that data should inform you about what agriculture is about and what aspect are you looking into. So from there, by knowing that with a basic understanding, you will now grow into knowledge with respect to agriculture. Now, with this knowledge, you'll be able to go through what you call this scientific farming, modern farming. And as you go through with challenges and then building an understanding, then this is where you are going to have a number of experience to have different product lines in your agricultural system. And that is what we refer to as wisdom. Now, there are certain fundamental barriers that we need to ask in the context of Ghana, if not even in Africa. Here, we need to question our educational system and see whether we really give a very good pictorial background of agriculture, right from the primary education, what is missing with respect to agriculture. We need to identify that. And the secondary level also the same thing. So it's just lost, like if you are saying, let's say we are talking about agriculture, only sciences, business, economics, and whatever. Agriculture itself is own. During our time, you only learn agriculture up to, let's say, Form 3, and that's it. So we need to look into that. We also have to really look into our, what they call it, technical and vocational training system that we have. They are going down for practical knowledge. So I don't understand why One may go for a technical course, or you go for vocational course, and you are talking about too much of theory. The theory should be translated into practice, and this agriculture is a practical profession. And then the tertiary institutions, it's really unfortunate, it's more to theory. I'm not trying to say it, I've been there before, where you can see that what we are being taught is more to theory, less practicals. Even that one also is not really sufficient. We really have to open up, and I'm going to show you a number of scenarios. I do remember during our time, almost 80% of the students will want to go for agribusiness or agri-economics, simply because they want to work in the banks or work in the offices. You see, the agricultural students themselves don't believe in the course that they are taking. So these are some of the things. This is why now smart farming is coming in to let us understand that the way we are thinking is no more, it's not tenable anymore, and we need to really work out. Now, for you to be successful in agriculture, like any other profession, you need to be a little bit analytical. So you cannot just go and then buy a land and then drop some seeds and fertilizers and you are growing. No, you need to be analytical. You need to be very critical in the way we do things. And then you also have to have what you call concrete type of thinking. You must have some goals that you want to achieve. I have given a talk on this, and then I'm not going to go into detail. You may check some of my YouTubes, and then you can get it. You may get them there. Now you also have to have what you call convergent type of thinking. You have to bring things together from different perspectives and synthesize them. And it can even be divergent, different areas, bringing different areas together, and then you chart your own path. And then because agriculture has a number of uncertainties, you need to be abstract in your thinking. Something may not be very concrete, but it can be abstract, and you need to be smart in that. And then definitely you need to be creative, because you are working with nature, and the dynamics of nature is really, really profound. And holistic type of things, you don't do it halfway. There's no this kind of half-baked kind of knowledge in agriculture, because the environment will expose you. So these are some of the things that I think we need to be very clear. And you need to conceptualize what you are doing. It's not just like a blind person just doing whatever, excuse my language. So we need to look into that. And then you have to have some sort of sequential thinking, because sometimes you need to grow your plants even in the greenhouse. You don't have to grow your plant in the field. You need to test them in your greenhouse before you go to the field. So all these technicalities will come in. Now, how do you develop these thinking skills? You need to have certain qualities. The qualities could be, you need to be curious, because when you are interested in something, you become curious about it. And then you can be very, very observant. You want to go into this. And then I think I can see Brother Mugis here. I really admire him for that. He had that kind of very enterprising things of looking into things from different perspectives, even including agriculture. Creativity would still be there. And then open-mindedness in the way we approach agriculture is very, very important. And then we also have to be very ethical, because now we are talking about food safety, food quality, traceability, and all sorts of things. The fertilizer industry is full of cartels and cheating and whatever, and you also need to be very honest. If not, it may backfire on you. So these are some of the things that I think I will give you as the background. Now, you can't do it alone, because an individual cannot work in vacuum. We need the support of our governance. So here, for us to really, really tap into smart farming, then we need to have a national plan. I'm not sure, I'm not talking about political agenda, because political agenda is all from manifesto. We are talking about generational type of a plan. If you are in here, Malaysia, there is something called national plan. Now we are up to what you call in national plan 12. We are in the 12th plan section, and this one is taking almost 60 years. Every 5 years, they review the national plan. It doesn't matter who is in governance. That point must be pursued. This is why you see that we always try to compare Malaysia and Ghana and whatever. They have a plan. They have national plan. It's not political plan. So these are some of the things. So these plans or agenda should feature very well and must be very, very friendly to modern farming. It must incorporate modern farming. No matter what, we need to do that. And then agribusiness should never be left out, because the supply chain must be there. And then we must also have favorable agricultural policies. This one can take me one whole hour to talk about it. Being them infrastructure and the like or whatever, they must be there. That is the part of the government, and that is a responsibility because taxpayers' money is what we need to use to rule the nation. And then in terms of research and development, we need to prioritize. I will show you a simple example. This is what we call intensify what? Priority research and development areas. We shouldn't be doing everything at the same time. So this is what we call national plan. Now you look at Malaysia, you can see those days when we were young, the moment you mention the name of Malaysia, what comes into your mind is rubber. And then from there, they moved from rubber because they have a plan, came down to Africa, got the oil palm, perfected the knowledge and became #1 in terms of quality. Now, in terms of quality, they are #1, but in terms of quantity, Indonesia is #1. So they realized that this is not something that they should stick on all the time. And this is what we should be very careful with the cocoa that we are dealing with. Already, we have started hearing about what China is doing. So they have realized it and even realized that even when you use what coconut could even be far better, could be lucrative compared with what we call oil palm. And now they are even moving into what we call pineapples and then durian. So you can see the plan. So we need to have this kind of mystery. You cannot be relying too much on your traditional crops. So these are the things that we talk about when we say national agenda. And here you can see, I mean, if you don't know me, I'm the one, or I mean, if you are, I mean, this is me, and this is he is the Minister for Science and Technology, Sarawak. So you see, for them, they are very, very interested in agriculture. So they come down and see and now he's a lecturer at University of Ghana. Those of you who are interested in him, you may see him there. He's very enterprising and very good in his area. And then we also go to the field. So those in the university, those who have the knowledge, will have to go down and then try to make the farmers feel what they need to do. So these are some of the things that I'm sharing with you. So it's not about you sitting in the office and then just talk about book things and whatever. Agriculture is very practical. So you need to go down and let the farmers feel it and let them know that it is possible and whatever. Now, this is just the background. Now, let's go down into what we mean by smart farming. But before I do that, we need to understand certain scenarios. So here I'm relating the earth, soil, land, and agriculture. Look at this. If you take the surface of the earth, we realize that almost 71% of it is what? The ocean. That means that we have only 29% land. And with this 21%, only 71% of the 21 is habitable. That means that we have to live with it. We need to crop it, so we don't have that much land that we thought. Now, out of this 71%, agriculture will be taking 50%. Again, that is not really enough. Now you look at it. If you take soil, I'm talking about land. So if you take the land that has soil and we can grow our crops, it's only 10%. And this 10% is for the whole world. It's not for one country. So you can imagine. And it takes almost 2,000 years at least to produce 10 cm of a fertile soil. So you can imagine if we start to degrade our soils, which is now happening in the country at a very alarming, proportion. Now, looking at it from this angle, now look at this. We are talking about one of the most challenging situations we find ourselves now, even at FAO level, is what we call soil erosion. And we are losing our fertile soils because of indiscriminate, deforestation and others. And you can see in 2011, almost 24 billion tons of fertile soil were lost through erosion. So we can imagine what galamsey back home is causing to us. Now, when we aggregate this loss and then we translate it to money, monetary wise, then it's going to be almost 490 billion only in 2011. And this is only for erosion. I'm not talking about surface runoff. I'm not talking about leaching and the like. Now, this is the issue. So you can see clearly what is going on. This small land that we have in the soil. So these are some of the things that we need to reverse. And one of the solutions could be what we call smart farming. So we are going into that. This happened in Tanzania. Those of you who know Tanzania in the East Africa, this is a human being walking through eroded soil called galley. So you can imagine how much of soil is being lost. Now, from here, what we need to understand is soil. We cannot do without soil. Much as we need air to breathe, we also need soil to survive. Unfortunately, soil is a non-renewable resource. Once it is destroyed, it will never come back to its original state. So this is where the Galamsey issue that is going back home. Yes, we can do phyto remediation and whatever, but we will never come to the original state. We try to rehabilitate some of the soils here, ex-mining lands, and then degraded soils. We managed to recover the soil, and it took us not less than 30 years. And even the biodiversity has not been attained yet. So it's a serious matter. So much as we take care of ourselves, I'm just giving you a comparison. This is the skin, the layer of a human skin. And I think all of us are very, very concerned about how our skin will look like. So if you are taking care of your skin, today, we are trying to let you understand that the layers of the skin will be equivalent to the layers of the soil. But in the soil, we call them horizons. So you can see how they match. So if you are taking care of your skin, then we also have to take care of our soil. After all, that is the soil that gives us our whole daily living. Now, and then again, we look at it clearly. Being it a human being, plant, or animal, we need 18 nutrients, macro and micronutrients. And with the exception of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen, which are abundant in the atmosphere, the rest are all in the soil. So that means that if we want to have a productive plant or healthy plant, then we need to go back to the soil. Even a human being, if we want to be very healthy, then our soils must be healthy, because that is where the food is going to come from. Now, through erosion, we are losing a lot of these nutrients. This is why it is declared that almost 2 billion people in the world are deficient of micronutrients. What do we mean by copper, zinc? You see, so these are some of the things. Now, what do we do? The only way that we could do this is to make sure that our soils are healthy. That will translate into healthy plants, and the healthy plant will produce healthy food, and it will translate into our health. You see the cascading effect. So here we need to stop or reduce soil erosion. How? By keeping surface contact. We have mulching. We have what we call minimum tillage. I'm going to talk about them very soon. And then to build organic matter, because organic matter is like a cushion. It's like a shock absorber. It absorbs what we call the shocks and improve the soil resilience. And definitely we must ensure crop rotation. Now let us go to the international level and see. We are all familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of them. And out of these 17, you may be interested to know that 12 of them are all related to agriculture. So you see, this is why the United Nations FAO, they all declare what we call it well soil day, agriculture, whatever, because of these realities. But we are back home looking at agriculture as the last resort in human profession. That kind of thinking or perception must change. Now, even with the soil, 8 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, they all relate to soil. This is why every year we celebrate what we call Well Soil Day, Well Soil Day. So you can read articles on this, and then you will get more information. Now from here, let me bring your mind to soil. We have 2 major types of soils, but they are all formed from rocks, minerals, and organic materials. So this is where you are going to have the two, because you need to understand the soil before you go into agriculture. So these are the barriers, the entry barriers, the challenges that we need to do. I'm not saying we don't know this, but we need to really take them seriously. So depending on the composition, if you have too much mineral or rocks, you will form a mineral soil. The management is completely different. If you have a lot of vegetation, you will form organic soils. So here, what do we mean? So soils that are formed from rocks and minerals are called mineral soils. And then this will be some of the soil colors, the profile. When you dig through the soil, these are some of the interesting colors, and each color tells you how you should manage the soil. By the end of this lecture, I'm going to give you all the colors, and you use a smart way of trying to look at it. The color itself can tell you what you should do to the soil. And even before you buy the land, this can help you. You don't need to be expert. These basic things can help you. I'll come down later. Now, if it's organic, because it's from organic materials like vegetation, human beings, or dead bodies or whatever, we all add on to the soil. So the dominance of what you call organic soils, and this is why they are dark in color, because of the content of carbon in organic matter. So this is how they will look like. And we also have a mixture of organic and mineral soil. They can come together as a soil. You need to know this, because completely different from the topsoil when they are mixed together. So these are the things that we need to do, because I've had a number of people go into agriculture and fail simply because they don't just understand how the system works. So if we go, I'm moving you slowly to Ghana. So if we go to the world, this is what we see. We have 12 orders. Just like, if you don't mind, it's just like animal and plant kingdom. So we also have the soil kingdom, and we have 12 of them. Now they are distributed everywhere in the world. So when we come down to Africa, all the 12 orders are scattered around. And then we can see slowly that we are getting down to Ghana and see what type of soils do we have and what kind of management should we go into. So now if you take the 12 orders, all the colors in white are found in Ghana. So when we say alpha soils, these are the soils that are not very acidic, and then they are fertile, and they are good for cropping. And I heard that Elembele or whatever, there was some sort of just a road that just had a landslide or whatever. This is one of the soils that might have caused the problem. So we will talk about these kind of things later. In Ghana, we don't have ND soils. ND soils are soils that are formed from volcanic eruptions. So we don't have volcanic eruptions in Ghana, therefore we don't have ND soil. And it's one of the, because eruption brings a lot of ash, so it's very, very fertile. We don't have that kind of soil. Arid soils are soils from the arid environment, like the desert, the semi-desert, and whatever. But I'm not sure. That's why I'm putting a question mark. But with the level of desertification coming right from Niger, Mali down to Burkina Faso, then if we continue to degrade our soils, rose plants and all these things that I heard that are being cut down and whatever, then this desertification, almost every year it moves not less than 50 meters. So we will have to be very careful of that. And it's always all the time sandy and salty. And we have empty soils. Ghana has empty soils. These are young soils. Just like in human population, we have young, middle age, and old. In the soil also, we have young soil, middle-aged soil, and old soil. So empty soil is a young soil that is not very productive, and it is in formative stages. We have those kind of soils. Jelly soils, we don't have them. Jelly soils are formed in the world, the tundra regions, where you have snow, very, very heavy snows. We don't have histosols. We don't have histosols. Organic soils, we don't have them, but we have inceptisol. Inceptisol is the elder brother of antisol. So it's now developing gradually to form the layers. And then we will also have what we call, I'm taking time for you to understand when we go into agriculture. These are the things that most of us are not really looking into. Molly soils are soils from, they are formed in grasslands. So don't tell me in the north we have molly soils. We don't, we mean almost 100% grasses. So here we don't have, and then we might have what we call oxysoils. Oxysoils are soils that are old, they are highly weathered, they are acidic, they have a lot of aluminum and iron, they are quite challenging soil, we have them. Sporosoils are soils with it's a sandy soil, but when you dig through, it has a very concrete layer, and you need to break the concrete. That is called spodicorizing. So that one also we have it, but it's a bit sandy and it's a bit challenging. You need a lot of organic matter to hook the soil together. And then artisols. So these are the soils that we have in Ghana, and definitely we have vertisols. Those of you who know Akuse Pong areas, We have vertical soil. These soils, when it rains, they will swell. And when it is dry, they crack. So these are then they're very, very sticky. So these are some of the soils that we have that you need to understand them and have, because it will hinge on socioeconomic implication of the farming. Yesterday, I was listening to a program where I think Scientific and Industrial Research Council, they were trying to promote some sort of fertilizer for, a cassava. And then all that they were saying that the yields are declining and whatever. I'm going to show you that actually we don't need to be using too much of chemical fertilizers. We can go organic, and I'm going to show you how we do it here. Now, for you to go then we need to cast our mind quickly and look at why do we need this classification? You need this classification because, one, this is it. The soil can be classified based on its quality or its degree in terms of problems and what it can do. That's number one. Then we also have what we call, it is very, very important that we classify the soil in a way that we know some of them will need conservation. Some of them, we can use them for land planning. To plan our system very well. So this issue of anybody buys a land anywhere and build a house is not gazetted. I think we need to reverse this. And we can only do this if we go back to the basics and look at the land capability classes, which I'm going to talk about very soon, so that we can use to plan. In this country, if you are talking about rice, we have granary areas. They are fully gazetted. You can't do anything there. If we are talking about oil palm, we have them. If you are talking about vegetable, so we need to really, really look into this. We have them, but maybe the implementation, these are the entry barriers. So because of this, it's also based on this, we are having classes in terms of this soil can do that, this soil cannot do this. If you want to use this soil, what you have to do, so that you don't go and buy any soil. At the end of the day, it can't do much and you have thrown your money away. So now, because of this, we have grouped them into what you call arable classes. That means you can cultivate them. And those that are non-arable means you cannot cultivate them unless you do something else. Right. So based on this, for the arable land, I think we need to, the challenge here is to really, really we have to stick to these kind of classes. One, class one means that this soil has no problem at all. It means that it's good for all type of crops. It's fertile, and then the soil depth. You know, the thickness of the soil is very important for the rooting systems of plants. So here it is an ideal soil, and then it's not affected by erosion, wetness, salinity, and soil acidity. So you can imagine we are selling these kind of soils just to do galamsey. We are selling these soils just to, for housing. I don't think so. In other parts of the world, non-arable lands are the ones that are used for buildings. They are the ones that are used for other things. The fertile soils are used for productive agriculture. And a classical example is New Zealand and in this country also. Now, class two is just moderate in everything, being it fertility, you are talking about water holding capacity, your conservation is just moderate. So you don't need much attention, but you need to be careful. You don't need to degrade it. And then for class three, you might need a little bit of conservation, like contouring, banding, and whatever. So you see, if you just go and buy and then you start bulldozing the area, you have already jeopardized the quality of the soil, and you will never recoup your investment. So these are the things. And then you see, as we move on, you can see that this land, you need to have a permanent cover. Permanent cover means you don't have to be tilling it, bulldozing. You only till what you want, and the rest you leave them for the grasses or the plants to be growing. Only where you need them, you till. Now, you see, now class 5 will have a number of problems. You can't use class 5 for permanent crops. It's just occasional crops, but you have to also bear in mind that it's very slopey. Erosion can come in, drainage, climate is an issue. So here, this is where you employ engineering activities. And I think if you want to go into this, it is going to cost you a lot, and you might not get back your investment. So for the non-arable land, very simple, there are no go zones. So class 5 will be if you want to invest a lot. There was a time we were invited to go and look for some areas. They wanted to open it for development in terms of agriculture. When we went there, we realized that it was class 5, and the other part is class 6. So we just rejected them and just leave them to follow and leave them for what we call a forest and whatever. Otherwise, you are just going to waste your time. So brothers and sisters, I'm taking my time to let you know, don't just go in anyhow. You need to have the understanding. So class 6 is definitely out. Class 7 is also out. And then class 8 is completely out. So if you go beyond class 4, then you are heading for problems. Now, after all this, now we have to lace this to what we call food security. Because once the soil is not doing well, then our stability in terms of food will be a problem. So when we talk about food security, we are not talking about quantity. We are talking about the right for every person anywhere in the world to get the kind of food that that person wants without any impediment. So here is very, very important. No physical, social, and economic access, no barriers. The food must be safe. It must be healthy. It must meet the cultural norms, and you must have your preference. If you are being forced to take a food that you don't want to take because of barriers, then that is not food security. So you see, food security here, we are talking about accessibility, availability, utilization. But something that glue them together is what we call stability. This is where I took my time to explain soil erosion. So you see, for us to have a nutritional outcome, our productivity must be stable. But how can it be stable when you have an environment like this? Because the soil is being degraded. So how are you going to guarantee your food for tomorrow? So there's no stability. So here you don't have food security. So back home, actually, we need to be very, very careful that we have a challenge of getting food security, because in terms of rice, maize, most of our staple crops or whatever, we have not achieved the self-sufficiency level, because we are ending up importing, and food can become a political weapon. Look at when COVID-19 came in, a lot of countries were not exporting food anymore. So these are the realities. So that stability must be there. And this is where we are going to talk about precision farming. Now, effective soil management will have to come in, because availability, do we have enough? Accessibility, can we afford or can we get what we want? And then what about acceptability? Does it really, if your religious belief or cultural belief, are you taking something against it? We will have to understand that. And the adequacy here, we are talking about how safe it is, the nutritional quality. If any one of this is missing, then we need to take an immediate action. Otherwise, we will be left behind. This is why now we are talking about agriculture 4.0. Slowly I'm moving you into smart farming, where we are talking about harnessing what we call modern technologies, modern methods. We harness them together from different multidisciplinary angles. And then from here, we will use it to optimize our productivity without jeopardizing the environment, and we improve our socio-economic status. This is all that what we call agriculture 4.0 is about. But it is technologically driven. It is, I mean, you need to have the knowledge to go into agriculture 4.0. So you can imagine where the world is if we are still in agriculture 1.0 or 2.0. So here, what does it mean? If we take 1 hectare or acre of a land, we must make optimum use of the land so that we can get whatever we want. So this is one of the, how can you do this if you don't have the knowledge? How can you do this if you don't harness technology? And then the input that we are also talking about, the input must be optimized in a way that we get the optimum yield, and then we got the economic returns without jeopardizing the quality of the environment, the greenhouse effect, the carbon footprint or whatever. We need to look into that. How can you do this? We can only do this when we harness the technology and the knowledge together. This is where we are talking about the big data, data analytics, cloud farming. We are talking about all sorts of things. And these are the realities of life now. Now, why am I stressing on this? Let us look at this part. Whether we like it or not, we are all aware that the population of the world is increasing. Now, if we look at it, by 2023, we are going to hit almost 8 billion. Now, hitting the 8 billion comes with a lot of responsibilities. What do I mean? You look at the global scenario. I'll move you down to Africa, and then we'll go down to Ghana. You see that the Western world, their population is stabilized. But we from the developing world, we are the ones who are pushing the boundaries to 9 billion by 2050. And we are the ones who are bearing the brunt of underdevelopment in agriculture, destroying our soils and vegetation. So you can imagine the challenge if we don't adopt new technologies. So here, population density will come in, and definitely is going to add on to the pressure on the soil quality. So then we are going to have some problems. So here, but when we come to Africa, there is hope. We have some opportunities that we could tap in, and it cuts across every country in Africa, where being it Ghana and the like. So here, if we look at agriculture very well, it will surprise you that agriculture will be able to eradicate poverty. Why am I saying this? It's not me saying this. It is something that has been accepted by FAO. Now, why? We can do this if we embrace technology. If we incorporate new technologies, new methods, modern farming in Africa, agriculture will outperform all the other sectors that we are familiar with. Why am I saying this? If it's not true, you look at Africa. What else do we need to develop? Just tell me, look at the African map. Almost everything is here, gold, whatever. Then why is it that until today? Of course, we have other geopolitical issues. We have our own political mismanagement and whatever. That's what I'm trying to say. All things being equal, if we have them and we are using them, well, why are we not making it? So this is why people are now talking about alternative. Just like now, people in Africa, some of us are thinking that we should give the ladies the chance to even rule, something like this. So here, give agriculture the chance and then see whether it can stand the test of time. Why this bold statement? You look at this. The bold statement is what? It is rooted in the fact that agriculture employs almost 65% of the workforce on that continent. So if agriculture alone is employing this, and we can develop agriculture in Africa, including Ghana, you can imagine, especially for the youth. I'm going to show you some interesting data. Therefore, with this kind of embracing technology, that means agriculture will be contributing 32% of our GDP. Which can you tell me natural resources can produce this? Because some of the don't tell me crude oil, because what is our stake in it? But this one, you're going to have almost 100% stake. You don't need any foreign intervention if you have the technological know-how. And if the whole continent should embrace technological advancement in their agricultural activities, it means that by 2030, we should be able to rake in almost $1 trillion. So you can imagine, how are you going to get $1 trillion and then become poor? Unless there is this mismanagement and whatever. Now, with all this noise that I've been making, why can't we look at the share of Africa, Ghana, and the like in terms of the global agricultural land? You can see clearly that Africa is not behind. We have enough agricultural land for us to go through. You can see clearly the lands are there. Now, breaking it down into specific countries, you can see, look at Ghana. Maybe today the talk is on Ghana. You can see the green areas and the light green area. These are the countries with potential, enormous potential in agriculture. So you see Ghana is one of them, Ivory Coast, even Mali, Burkina. So most of these countries that you see, they have the potential to make it big. Now, what do I mean? But unfortunately, where we are lacking here is what we call organic farming. You can see Africa is really behind. And surprisingly, among all the 54 or whatever countries, Ghana is placed in number 4 among the African countries that are doing well in organic farming, even though it's very, very low. So you can see clearly Tunisia is there, South Africa is doing well, Tanzania is doing well, and Ghana is number 4. Surprisingly, not even Nigeria. So these are the opportunities that I think our farmers and our government, our policies to look into, because the future is organic farming. And I'm going to show you very soon. Now, if we are able to do this, can you imagine if we take the whole world, the arable land in the world, Africa is holding 60% of the arable land. So you can see how many billions we can get if we really develop the arable lands. This is why you hear a number of Gulf states are investing in agriculture. If you go to Ethiopia now, the Middle East country with their dollars, they have adopted a very huge tracts of land, producing agriculture and then send it back to their places. So this means that the arable land is there that we have to utilize. It's about time. And do you know that this 60% of the world unused cropland that we have in Africa, if we develop just a little, we are having 8 million jobs for the populace. And I'm going to say who can transform this will be the youth. And I'm going to show you some sort of data to prick your conscience for us to see that we cannot do without the youth. Now, let us look at this. And you see how underdeveloped agriculture is. Look at our potential. The green bars are the potential that we have. Talk about block by block. If you go to West Africa, you can see clearly this is where we are and this is where we can be. So the potential is there, including Ghana. Go to every part. And in fact, South Africa, the southern part of Africa is even amazing. You can even look at it. So you see, we are not doing very well, even though we have a lot of opportunities to do well. So these are the things. We will not be able to do this if we really don't embrace technology, and we cannot do the same thing at the same repeatedly and expect different results. So here, in terms of the distribution, again, you can see very, very opportune time for Ghana to get in. Nigeria is there, Burkina Faso is there. You see, these deep green areas are the ones that can make it big time. So you see, again, Ghana has opportunity. So in a way, when we look at what do you call it, planting for food and jobs, for me, I think it's a good idea. Only that if we can really, really bring it up and then make it in a sustainable way, that will be fine. Right. Please, I have no political affiliation. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts. Right. Now, in terms of population itself is a huge opportunity for us to tap from and then try to use it. Why? I'm just going to show you. Now, look at this. If we look at it closely, what I can say here is we are the second most populated continent in the world, 1.2 billion. That means that we are behind Asia, Europe, and South America. But the advantage we have is Africa is not densely populated. Just imagine 65 people per meter square. It's sparsely populated. Therefore, we can capitalize on that. Asia cannot afford this. Europe cannot afford this. And South America cannot afford that. So this itself is a huge capital for us to tap into. Now from here, even with that kind of 1.2 billion kind of people, the continent is the youngest continent in the world. That means that the youth is there to take over. The youth is there. If we make agriculture appealing to them, the youth will definitely take over. And that is where we are going to make it big time. You look at it, if you look at the world, it's only Africa who has less than 10% of each aging population more than 60 years. Can you imagine? So you can imagine the human capital that we have here. We are not old. So if we go down, irrespective of where you are in Africa, our average age is 18. And look at the rest of the world. So that itself, if we can empower the youth to go into agriculture, that would be fantastic. But it can also backfire on us if we make them redundant. Then that is where the catastrophe will strike. So either today we have the opportunity, we use it, tomorrow might be too late. You can just imagine by 2100, 50% of the kids who will be less than 4 years old will be found in Africa. So you can imagine how young we are and how we can go into the advantages that we have. Now, let me bring it down in terms of aging. You see here, if you look at Africa, this is the young population. You can see by 2050, we will have our young population increase by 51%. But when you go to if you go to South Asia, theirs will decrease by 41%. If we come to Southeast Asia and the like, they will decrease by 32%, and then Europe will decrease by 6%. So that means that we are going to dominate the world with the youth. So why can't we use the youth as our capital, our human resource, and to propel us to another stage of the growth and development? So I leave it to you. These are opportunities that are, maybe if you might not be aware, this is what is going on. The world knows this is an undeniable fact that we need to capitalize on. Very, very important. Can you imagine? I'm telling you, my own student is doing this, and we are home with all these opportunities. This is in a place where the population is highly dense, but they are still making it big. So we really have to look at this. So here, this is how we train the student. We train them to have a passion in what they do. You see them young like this, most of them are PhD candidates, masters, and you can see the enthusiasm with which they go into agriculture. By the time we finish, some have already opened their company. They are dealing with multinational companies. So these are some of the things that we will really, really have to inculcate in our youth. All is not lost. That's what I'm trying to say. And even when they do their research, they bring the technology, we expose them to the stakeholders, people who matter, the potential investors. And they are so proud to share their work and get some investment and get some attachment. And they are all PhD students. You see how young they are. How long do we want to wait? You see, this is the way we expose them. After they bring out their technology, they are very confident. We keep training them. So because they have the future, and this is what I think that we can do back home. It's very, very important. Let us get the children or the young one from the street and get them doing some sustainable job. And Africa, agriculture can absorb a number of them. And these are some of them. And this is what we call Dr. Ali. He's doing very well back home. Hopefully he can also bring a change. Now, much as we are talking about population, we cannot run away from food. We need food to survive. But unfortunately, this is another golden opportunity. It's a problem, but we can take problem as opportunity. By right, this is what we call the pyramid of the human food chain. Now, instead of us to build a pyramid, we are building waste pyramid. And the waste pyramid, that whether post-harvest losses or food waste and whatever, and we can see it's very, very huge. 870 million people can be fed on the waste that we are producing. And Ghana is no exception. And when I see that, they say we have problem with waste, and we cannot turn the waste into better things like organic fertilizers or liquid fertilizers. I'm going to show you what we are doing here. Now, if we don't control the waste, according to the FAO, if we were to collect the waste in the world and look at how much carbon dioxide is being emitted, China is #1 in terms of carbon dioxide emission naturally, followed by US. But the waste carbon dioxide emission in the world can represent a country. So you can imagine how much carbon dioxide we are emitting every day in the country, and how much is being inhaled, and what are the greenhouse effects. And although these waste could be avoided, and we could even transform them into something else. And look at the waste in the world, 1.3 billion tons. And surprisingly, what is more alarming is cereals, vegetables, and fruits. Those are the ones. And I think if you really, really agree with me, if we go back home, we can see this in the markets, even in our farms, in the harvesting places. Why should it happen? That means that we need to have some infrastructure. We need to have some holding areas to get these things, process them in a way. But even if it had already become a waste, unavoidable waste, can't we find simple technology and smart way of doing things? I'm going to show you some of the things. I'm not saying that we are not doing them, but we need to step up the game. Now we are in this problem because we have failed the basic, the fundamental, that we should prepare less, and then we waste less. So if we don't have a choice, let me share with you what we are doing here. Now, this same waste that you see, we have some of our group research where we try to get all this waste and then we transform them into plant juice. So I'm not juice that will be taken by the plants, the crops, just like we human beings, we take juice. So we get it from the waste, we transform them. How do you do it? This is the way we do it. So we transform the waste into juice and then we apply. And this is going to be like a natural fertilizer in a liquid form. You don't need chemical fertilizer on this. And then we also take the fruits and all this and bring them together. And then we produce what you call fermented fruit juice. And then again, this is not for human consumption, but for the plant. And we have been working on black pepper. And then, you know, this country is number 5 in black pepper production. And you can see this is what we are using smart technologies to do. And at the end of the day, this is what we are getting. And these are from waste. So these are some of the challenges that we are throwing around that we can do it seriously. So these are some of the examples that I can share with you. Now, what about when the population is increasing? Remember, we cannot run away from drinking water. And already Galamsey and all sorts of degradation is going on, and we are already having problem with our water bodies. So again, these are the realities. 1.2 billion people are going to face water scarcity by 2025, and Ghana is no exception. So we really, really have to be smart in the way we do things. And look at this. These are the predictions. We can see, but now you look at it, by the time that we get to 2070 or 2050, you can see clearly that we are almost running out of water. You can see the red color means that we are running out of water. So if we are running out of water, how are we going to manage? So we have to be very, very careful with the way we handle situations. Now, that being the case, this is what is going to happen. Then we are going to have water pollution here and there. And everybody is going to be affected. We are all affected in one way or the other. How? Let us look at the statistics. You can see almost 842 million people die out of diarrhea every year. And if we take up the 7.7 billion people, only 5.2 billion people have safe water. And you can see 2 billion people will have water that's contaminated with feces. So you can see, and even when you go to US, America, Michigan alone, 21 million people have lead contamination in their water. And 1 out of 4 people in America does not have what we call safe water. So you just cascade it backwards to back home, and we see how many people really have quality water. So this is where smart farming, you need to also understand, because when the water is contaminated, then your food is also in agricultural food chain is going to be affected. And it doesn't end there. This is a classical example of over fertilization. When you use too much of chemical fertilizers, nitrogen and phosphorus, this is what we call eutrophication, algae bloom. So these are some of the challenges. That's why for us, we will prefer to go biological or natural to avoid all this. Then the last part before we zoom into the smart farming itself is temperature. Because all these smart farming activities will be able to handle these things to some extent. So here, temperature is going to be an issue, and you can see the whole continent everywhere. Now, what is really, really disturbing is the fact that we all thought that when the global temperature increases, it's rather going to affect the ocean, but actually it is the rivers. If, let's say, the temperature of the ocean increases by 1 degree, the soil will increase 5 times. So for instance, if, let's say, the global temperature increases 2 or 2.5 degrees, the soil will be heated 10 degrees. So you can imagine what is going to happen to our crops and our livelihood. So this is where the water body will be affected, the soil will be affected, and is going to pose a serious challenge on agriculture and its food production. So this is where we have to go into climate smart farming. So now I'm bringing you down after giving you all the issues. We need to go into climate smart farming. What do we mean? If you talk about climate smart farming, this is it. This is a time that we have to harness the technology. We have our sensors, and then we will have to capture data as much as we can in the country. I understand that we have digitization going on. I think in that aspect, I think it's a good idea. We should just perfect it and then try to capitalize on it. So here we have the census, and then we can get the data and put it in the cloud. This is where if we can launch our own agricultural satellite, that will be fantastic. We can drone technology and whatever. So once we put them in the cloud, what we can do now is to analyze the data. Remember, all the agricultural information could be put in the cloud, and then we analyze everything. Once we analyze them, then what do we analyze? We want to analyze and see what will be the scenarios in case there is going to be a disease breakout. How do we react? If there's going to be like we need to fertilize, if there's going to be bushfire, if there's going to be like a disease infestation, how do we react? So this is what we call the technology that we need to. So once we know this, we can alert the farmers. This is what is going to happen. This is what you need to do. So these are some of the things that we need to do. And now things are becoming easier because we are having our cell phones. All that we need is to have the connectivity. And this is where the infrastructure must be there. And then we can do the planning. We have the control system and we can do the monitoring. If you have heard about Internet of Things, so this is where it comes in. And then we also have, if you have your tablets and whatever, you can also do this. And we will also have to do what we call integrated farming to counter a little bit of the environment and also to reduce the heat of the soil. Therefore, let's say, for instance, if we are here and then we are producing, let's say, healthy food, and we have even the waste or some being given by the animals, and they also eat organic kind of sources, like the waste or whatever, they are going to give us good milk. Of course, we are going to be healthy. This is not theoretical, it's being done. And then their waste can be composted into organic, what we call fertilizer. We can use it to grow our own vegetables or whatever crop you want to grow, and we can use them for our rice or maize or cassava or whatever. At the end of the day, the loops go on. These are all what we call the smart farming that we are talking about. And even, let's say, at the moment we are not able to catch up, we can still do the traditional smart farming by now, something called agroforestry. What do we mean by agroforestry? You are bringing animal, plants, and forests together. We harness the situation, and then we can go. And then you can also do what we call integrated crop and animal farming, where here you come to the rice growing areas, we have ducks that will be floating in the rice field, taking the worms and all other harmful, what we call it, in the soil, in the water, it could be worms, it could be insects and whatever, and then their feces and whatever, also source of fertilizer. So this is what we call integrated farming. And then we also have what you call traditional composting. You can also do cover cropping, and we are talking about intercropping, multiple cropping and crop rotation. We need to make them a little bit efficient. Now, how do you go about it if you have something like this? So this is what we don't want. So what we can do is to still go back to basics and have what we call permanent covering. Permanent cover in terms of you only till, if this is what we are interested in, we only till this part and leave the rest. This is what we call minimum tillage. We still have to practice that instead of bulldozing everything. And then we also have what we call crop rotation, because monocultivation will lead to soil depletion. At the same time, it might also cause erosion and it might breed diseases. So if, let's say, this year you crop, for instance, I'm just giving an example, vegetables, or you are talking about maize, and they have nutrient demanding, the next time will be leguminous, so that they can replenish the soil with organic material with nutrients. This is what we call crop rotation. Now, but again, what is the way forward if we really, really want to go into smart farming? So now, what is smart farming? Smart farming is very simple. The idea about smart farming is you only use modern technologies and new methods in agriculture and related industry to produce high quality yield. You make some economic returns, but you don't jeopardize the, what we call it, the ecosystem services. And even if you claim your approach is good, it should be able to be, it should be sustainable. You don't say today it is environmental friendly and tomorrow it is not. So it must be there. So if that is the case, what do we mean here? That means that you need to deploy. If you want to get to that level, We must have a system for your crop monitoring, irrigation, computer imaging, pest and disease control, soil management, soil quality, and then what we call variable rate applicators. You need to read the weather. Remember, we are talking about climate change and all those kind of things. So these things are all embedded in one system for us to move on. So this is what we call smart farming. Now, smart farming comes in different shades. We have what we call precision agriculture. Some say precision farming, site-specific management, agricultural drones. You are talking about livestock monitoring, smart greenhouses. But at the end of the day, they are all called smart farming. And this is what we call Internet of Things. So here, what do we employ? You can talk about your agrobots, crop sensors, LED technology, digital technology, cloud, farming. So let me run you through just a bit one by one. But let me finish this part first. So the ultimate goal of any kind of smart farming should be resource optimization, so that you come out with outstanding soil, plant, animal, and human ecosystem. They must not be jeopardized, and then they must be intact at least. So that is the ultimate goal. Anything beyond this, you degrade the environment, is not being smart. And then now what will be, how do we achieve it? It means that if you are being smart, smart does not only mean that using only the gadgets. You can use the same level of your input, but you being smart, I'll tell you later on, you being able to manipulate the soil and environment, the same input, but you get maximum return in terms of greater productivity. Or what you can do to be smart is the same productivity, but you reduce your input. Remember, in agriculture, production cost is almost 50% of your cost. So if you can maintain even your productivity and reduce your input, you can make it. Or what you can do is to increase your productivity and reduce your what? Your input. So all these things can be done when you talk about smart farming. Now, what is the mission of smart farming? The mission of smart farming is, of course, if you are in agriculture, it's a profession. So you want to make profit. You want to maximize your profit and related activities. But you put in place good agronomic practices in a way that they will be in harmony with nature. Once you can do this, then you are practicing what we call smart farming. So you can use the modern gadgets and destroy the environment and get maximum profit. You are not being smart in terms of environmental protection. So these are the realities. Now, what are the goals? The goals are that smart farming, I have given you, this is why I took my time to give you the background, the current issues. Smart farming here, we are paying attention to root cause of a potential problem or existing problem. We are not doing cosmetic work here. You tackle the root cause of the problem or the potential, you prevent it. And these root cause problems should not impede. If you are able to solve them, they should improve our health, the plant, the animal, and the productivity must increase. Very, very important. So you are not looking for the problem, the cause, and you prevent it. And that is when you are being smart in agriculture. Now, what are the main objectives of smart farming? One, we emphasize on good plant health, plant, animal, and human. That would translate into agricultural efficiency. So if somebody is planting something, that should not jeopardize your health, the plant and animals. So this is one of them. Then you are talking about agricultural efficiency. And we are also talking about socio-economic efficiency. If you manage the soil well, the plant well, and animal, and the human health, and translate into economic gains, then that is what we call socio-economic efficiency. And the last part will be, we are talking about environmental efficiency. You are not degrading the quality of the environment. So these are the objectives of what we call smart farming. Now, smart farming is not only in the farm. We have smart farming right from the farm to the table until you eat the food. This is why now we have food traceability. Right from the farm, we'll be able to monitor every fruit, every plant until it gets to the final destination. right through the supply chain until you cook your food onto your table. This is what we call smart farming. This is what we call Internet of Things. So now let me bring you back to the component of smart farming. One of them is the agrobots. And this agrobots, like I just told you, it will be able to monitor your fertilization, whether your soil is drying, whether there are some diseases. What a human being cannot do can be done by the robot. And then we have our sensors, crop sensors. This is where the interesting scenario is coming in. If you have your drones or satellite, you see when they beam their lights, you can see clearly with your naked eye. You might think that the soil is uniform or the plant is growing uniformly, but no, with the technological breakthrough, we will be able to know, why is this area like this? What does it mean? Does it mean the plants are ready for harvest? Does it mean there is some sort of pest diseases? Or does it mean there's water shortage? Or does it need fertilizer? Does it mean this is doing very, so you see, these are some of the things. So we call them spatial distribution. The sensor should be able to tell you. And then we have something called the LED technology, light emission diodes. And as we all know, sunlight gives us the spectrum within which plants can grow, animals can do very well. But now we can even grow our crops in our houses, without any light. This is what we call light emission diode. If you look at the spectrum, this is for sunlight, natural sunlight. Even now, without the sunlight, we have what we call the LED technology. We can use this LED technology, but not every kind of bulbs or light. So you cannot use incandescent lamp because the spectrum is not uniform, and you cannot use fluorescent tube or fluorescent lamps. So we can only use the LED technology. Why am I saying this? Because you see, plants, they grow within certain wavelength, 400 to 700. So we can even produce our own light. And then without the what we call the sunlight, we can still grow our crops. This is also smart farming. So just look at an example. If let's say we need the light to sprout our seeds. So what light do you need? You need the red light. If let's say you want the plant to grow, photosynthesis to go on, what do you need? You need the red light plus the blue light. And we can supply that as much as the sunlight can supply. What if you want the flowers to bloom? Then you need red plus white, but a lot. All right. And then what about if you want the fruits? We are talking about red plus blue. So these are some of the things that I think we will be able to know. And at the same time, if you want more nutrient for fruiting, you need the ultraviolet. So here, basically, even if you want flowering, you have the infrared spectrum, you can go for it. Now, so what I'm telling you now is the LED technology that is in now can be used for any type of crop, any. And then, so long as you can mimic the what we call the sunlight. So this is where agriculture is taking us. It's taking us to a different plane. So this is what we call agriculture 4.0. So this is it. So here we can be in our own buildings and we will be able to crop without any impedance. You may ask me the quality. The quality will remain not 100%, but it's acceptable, right? These are some of the things. No pest, nothing. You are sure of the quality. In fact, we have what you call near infrared technology to even improve the taste better. So these are the technologies that I think we need to tap into if really we want to participate in agriculture 4.0. Now, to summarize what LED technology can do for plants, they can change how the light, you can change the light to mimic sunlight so that you can even control how the plants will grow. You can also translate even the taste with the LED technology can be improved. If you want to add on to vitamins, now we are talking about food as a supplement or a tablet. So when you are sick, the concept is like this. You go to the hospital, they say you like this vitamin, whatever, you don't want to go and take a synthetic one. So we can modify the plant for you, and then you can get the vitamins from the plant naturally without going synthetic. So this is where we are leading to now. And of course, we are all worried about cancer. So here, with the LED technology, we are able to improve upon the plant quality in a way that we will modify the antioxidants in a way that we will be able to control a little bit of cancer. They are all in the offing. And of course, we can also alter when we want the plant to flower. So you see here, it's not about season anymore. You can't wait until every year you crop or whatever. We want to crop as many times as we want. So these are the realities. And when you harvest, one critical thing is the shelf life. Take tomato, for instance, back home, 1 or 2 days is already perished. So perishable kind of crops, we can extend the shelf life. And all of them would be learned, it is because of the breakthrough that we have in the LED technology. Now, this is plant. What about the poultry industry? You know, birds are very sensitive to light. So again, like plants, we can also use the LED technology, and then we can handle our, what we call it, the poultry industry and the livestock industry without even having a direct sunlight. So it can be indoor. So this is an example that I can share with you. These are all what we call the LED technology. These are some of the examples. So this is where agriculture is leading us to. Why do we need it in the poultry? One, the blue light will calm the birds. They have some calming effect. And then when you talk about the red and the red light, you know, in birds, they have what you call cannibalism and then feather picking. So this one will reduce that if you use the LED technology. And then the blue-green light stimulates the growth of the chicken. This is why sometimes you see that the chicken are produced faster or whatever. You can use the LED technology. Of course, the orange to red stimulate reproduction. In fact, if you want good quality eggs also, you can use the LED technology. Now we are talking about the digital technology, where now we can even have the database. You just beam, you communicate with the satellite, with your laptop, your whatever, your tablet, and it can even check if you want to compare the, what do you call it, the fruiting status or the quality of your plant. The database is there. It can just compare and tell you, okay, this plant is not doing well. This area is not doing well. This plant is ready for harvesting. So these are the interesting times that we have. So the imaging technology is really helping us for us to determine what the crop size, the shape, the color, and the quality. You can even sort and grade your own product. And this makes you smart to get into the market as fast as you can, how you want to irrigate. All these technologies are there. Remember now, we don't need this cutlass and whole kind of agriculture. This is a weeding material. You can just go, the database is there, it has been programmed, and then you will know, it will say this is weed, this is plant. So it will only plug the weeds and then weed for you. And so this is what we call the weeding robotics. These are all in the offing. And then we also have what we call smart farming in the cloud. I'm not saying we are planting in the cloud, but because we are using the cloud technology. So here, this is what we are having at the moment. So this is the new age for agriculture. What do we mean here? When you talk about the cloud technology, it's very simple. You have the database, you have programmed every system. So you tap onto the database, and it can even tell you your agricultural marketing activities, the weather, the soil, the land, agricultural disaster, because here we are even talking about crop insurance and the like, pests and diseases, fertilizer management, crop. So everything will be in the cloud in a this is what we call the big data. Now, who processing the information better is the one who is leading the technology. So then from here, even the cloud technology is also used in producing crops. So now we are even talking about if you are at home and you don't want to go and buy anything, you can produce your own thing. You just have to have your, what we call your cabinet, and then you plug in your LED technology plus the cloud technology, and you are producing your own vegetables. This is where agriculture is heading to. Now, getting to the middle component of the presentation, here we are not going to talk much of huge tracts of land anymore. We are talking about future farm, miniaturization of farms. So the future farms are going to be smaller, very efficient. You can stay at home and monitor what is going on. This is what we call the future farms. What do we mean by future farms? Let's say you have your farm here, farm shed. This is your house. You have all your gadgets around. You are communicating with every component in the farm. So here, for instance, you have your drones. These drones will scout your field for you in terms of weed, yield, soil variations, and whatever. and then it will process it. You have your agrobots. These agrobots will be able to do the weeding. They will be able to spot the fertilization for you. And then you even have your tractors, smart tractors, which will only traffic along route that has been programmed in a way that they don't compact your soil, and then they don't even cause erosion. And even we have something called texting cows. You have your sensors, you are communicating with the cow. The cow can text you and tell you when it's expecting to go into labor, or whether it's being infected by diseases, or even when to milk the cow. So all these data, you will be sitting in the comfort of your house, and then these things are being worked out. And then here, this is not conceptual, it's being done in other parts of the world already. So, and again, those of you who go into credit, you want to get loan. These are the credible data that you can show to get your loan. So these are some of the things. So here, you don't need to go closer to the cow anymore before you take the data. You can be at home and whatever. Now, even in our research components, we have what you call smart greenhouses. I sit in my office, and then we can just use the phone, and then you can use your tablet or your computer, and you can even control what is going on in your greenhouse. I will show you an example very soon. So these are some of the things. And then, of course, with the drones, we know in the soil, spatial variability. Why is this place green? If it's green, means the plants are growing very well. If it's red, means the soil has a problem. We can handle all these parts. This is the variability. So nakedly, we can say that you might think that this is what the soil looks like, but actually this is it. So we can manage. So you don't have to put more resources here. You need to focus on this part. So these are some of the things. Look at this hill. You might think it's uniform, but in microscopic level, at the microscopic level, we can see clearly that we have some serious variations that we need to do. Now, without the spatial variability, how do you know this? So these are some of the things. This is how we communicate with the world, your smart technologies. Now, like I just showed you this, you'll be in your tractor. And even with your smart technology now, you can even use it to spot diseases on your phone and what to do with some intervention. And one interesting part is insurance claims. Now, it's not your word against my word. We have everything in the cloud. So if you claim that you have a natural disaster you want to claim from the insurance company, there will be no argument because everything in the cloud, everything has been computerized, and then we have the evidence. So this is where the world is taking us to. So this is not the time for the insurance company to tell you there is no fire here, there is no pest outbreak. No, 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 no. Everything is there. So it will be like this. So that is as simple as that. Now, in terms of near infrared, you see, the near infrared technology is very simple. Plants, when you beam the sunlight on them, because the backside of the plant are spongy, they are able to absorb sunlight and then reflect in certain wavelength. So if a plant is healthy, the reflection is higher in the near infrared. So here you see here, the plant is not healthy. This is where you see that the near infrared is almost to any other part of the colors. So here, once you see this, it tells you the plant has a problem. Is it due to water infestation or whatever? And then here you can see, now because you are having the near red improving a little bit, then you can also see the stress. But the best is when you have the near red, where it is getting higher. This is where you see. So all these things have been programmed in the near red technology for you to know this. Now, what can the near infrared do? One, no more. You don't need to go and see whether this is organic matter or not. It can tell you at the spot or even in your imaging. It can also be used in spectroscopic management in terms of you are looking at the spectral characteristics of your work. And then we are also talking about nutritional status of your crop can be measured. We are talking about when to harvest. And we are also talking about food processing. The fruit, if you want to process it, maybe to the outlets or whatever, it can also do that. The grain quality can also be determined. So these are some of the things. And in fact, you can also use it to control diseases, pests, and toxic, and drought monitoring. Remember, I talked about climate change, and then you are talking about fresh quality control. And then we are talking even your fish. Also, we can look at it in terms of quality, and then soil testing. Remember when we had the pandemic and until now, the first thing people are saying we should do testing. But the problem back home is how many farmers or how many do we have the testing facilities for soil for farmers? These are the challenges that I think that we need to look into. And then of course, renewable resources and then breeding programs. And in fact, we have artificial intelligence, your UAVs, unmanned area vehicles. They can even now count your own fruits one by one. You don't need to engage people to count and know. So you can calculate how much you are getting. And of course, if you are talking about ripening, ethylene, we have a way to measure the ethylene, and it can tell you, because you know certain crops, like example, oil palm industry, the right time to harvest the palm is, the fruits are very, very important. When you see most of them are falling on the ground, you are losing your money already. So this is what we call timely intervention, and we can also use it. And even, let's say like cassava, banana, whatever, blight and spot and whatever, all these things can be measured by the new technology. Artificial intelligence also is very good in the citrus industry, where you can use it to find out which one are being infected by what you call it, fungi, bacterial, viruses, and whatever. So all these things are now possible. Now, with all these also, you don't need to be only in the village or remote areas to do farming. Now we are bringing farming right to the urban centers. This is what we call urban farming. And now for us, we are even challenging that you don't need to go to the field. You just have to have your troughs. So when you have the troughs, we call them troughs, you can grow everything that you want here. And then there you go. So I'm just showing one example. This is our practical experience that I'm sharing with you. Here we are trying to grow rice at the urban level so that you don't have to go to the granary area. So this is what we are doing now. And then we are trying to transfer the technology. So this is it. So we are trying to show you that you can really do it even in the cities, in the towns or whatever. It's not only in the villages. So this is what we are doing now. So this is what we call urban farming, where you can grow and then whatever. Now, conventionally, you have to go to the farm itself. No more. We can do it. So can you tell me that this is a dirty work where you can do this at your back door and whatever? This is another example of maize. You don't need the field. You just need some amount of soil. If you don't have soil, you can use compost or whatever. And then there you go. You are growing. As simple as that. So this is where this is our technology. We are trying to show that when you use the waste that I show you, transform them into organic systems, it's better than chemical fertilizer. So it's clarity. And then here we can also see clearly that the roots are doing very well because of certain things I'm going to tell you very soon. Now here, we monitor our students closely. Remember, I told you that the educational system is very, very important. So here we monitor our students very, very closely for them to really, really acquire the knowledge. So this is me testing some of our students as to what they are doing. It's their own project, but try to monitor. And some we have, even if it's just a class or maybe you do some project with your students, you need to go down and then let them feel it and let them see it and let them understand it. So this is what we are doing here. It's not just theory or whatever. They need to do it and then they explain and we score them. So these are the realities that we go through. Now, smart farming also can be done in the greenhouse, where in the greenhouse you can mimic the environment. We are talking about the microclimate can be mimicked. You can control your fertilizer, you can control your water system. You don't need to be there physically. So all the manual things will be eliminated. And that is what we call smart greenhouses. And you can even buy a greenhouse and put it at your backyard with all the sensors, and there you go. So these are the things that I think that in the country we need to promote. You don't have to go to the village anymore. You grow what you want and eat what you want. Period. As simple as that. We even have the robotics where it can pick which one is ripe and then which one should be plugged. They are all there in the market now. And even now, even if you are in your condominiums, you are in your houses, you can do what we call vertical farming. This is what we call vertical farming. We can see these buildings, these are all crops. These are not flowers, they are crops that people are growing and then they will harvest and eat. We are also talking about green buildings. Green buildings are the buildings that you grow crops and then you are eating the crops. These are another concept. We call it city farming. So these are all the vertical farming that are going. You might tell me, oh, maybe back home we have electricity, we have it. For how long will we relegate ourselves? We must take the bull by the horn. By the horn. So by all means, we must participate. We cannot be second fiddle all the time. It can be done and it is doable. Even now, we are talking about rooftop farming. In fact, one Nigerian student contacted my wife and then was trying to talk about vertical farming. And I was so happy for these ladies from Nigeria. They have their buildings and they want to grow on top of the buildings. So this is what we call vertical farming, and they have their own advantages I'll talk about later. So all these things can be done. And these are, you see, you think that this is a sports stadium or whatever, but it's a vertical farm, a rooftop farm. And then here, you can see they are in different types. Even if your house is as small as this, you can improvise it and then grow your own crop at your own pace. Right. So what it means here is, I personally will feel that we need to change the way we build our roof. Our roofing systems might need to be changed, because if you build a house like this, how are you going to do rooftop farming? You get what I'm saying? So I think we need to think very, very smart in a very futuristic way of looking into all these things, right? Why do you need the rooftop? Remember, you grow the plants, it can clean the air for you. You see, so we are reducing the carbon footprint. At the same time, we are supporting what we call urban wildlife. And then we are at the same time producing food. Remember, when you grow plants, they are going to cool your what? They are going to cool your roof. Therefore, you don't need too much of energy. You don't waste a lot of electricity. You don't need air condition. These are the things that we are going into. And then definitely, it is also going to reduce runoff onto the buildings. So these are some of the things. Now, from here, let me now share with you some of the examples that, my personal experience with our research group, and then see what is going on. Smart farming can be easy when you also think smart without even the gadgets. But you need to understand the soil, how the biological, physical, and chemical reaction comes in to make a soil fertile. So when we say the soil is fertile, we want both the physical, chemical, and biological to interact positively. So when you degrade the soil will not be fertile, right? So now what do we mean? The positive interaction that we mean here is, let's say you have your input. The quantity of the input must be, the plant must respond to certain level. So once you see you apply your fertilizer, your input, the plant is growing. Now this is your highest yield. This is where you should stop putting in your input. Anything beyond this will be negative. So we want this positive. So if you can match your plant with your input, then you are being smart. And a number of us don't do that. We just buy certain quantity of fertilizer, we just dump them. Whether the plant need them or not, we don't care. Now, the negative one is when you are not being smart and you continue to add your fertilizer, your water, or whatever, you are stressing the plant, and it's like you are throwing your money away. You are not being smart here. Now, sometimes also it can be zero interaction because you don't understand the dynamics of the plant and the soil. So whatever you put has no significant effect. So this is where we go back to chemistry. Remember the Liebig's law of minimum. This is why I told you agriculture is about science. Let's say now you are going to grow crops. All that you know is NPK. Okay, go and buy NPK. Add it to this, apply it to the soil. No. Before you start, you need to analyze the soil. Once the soil is analyzed, just like human being, if you are sick, you go to the hospital. Before the doctor can treat you very well, if he's not very sure, you need to do lab tests. So here it's equivalent to lab tests. So now what you can do, just imagine if you have a soil or you are going to agriculture like this, and you decided to buy NPK, it's okay. You get what I'm saying? But you don't need here, the main issue is P. The limiting factor is P. This is why you are not getting your yield. So if you are smart enough, you don't need to buy nitrogen fertilizer. You don't need to buy K. You only buy P fertilizer because that's the limiting factor. So once you improve P, you get it? that means that you have solved the limiting factor, and this is why you are getting this yield, right? So now if we go to the next stage, when we come here, if you still want to boost your yield in your farm to get optimum, K is a limiting factor. Don't focus too much on nitrogen. Focus on K, and then you add K. So what is going to happen here is you have fixed the K and you are getting good yield. This is why here the yield is increasing. If you go further, you want to look, I'm not saying they follow like this, but I'm just giving you scenarios. So if, let's say, magnesium and sulfur will be the limiting factor, why do you go and buy NPK? It's like you are throwing your money away. Focus only on magnesium. Buy magnesium and sulfur, and then you apply it to the soil, and then you will get the maximum yield. This is what we call smart farming. Here, you are not using gadgets. Simple test is helping you. So that means that you don't go beyond this. If you go beyond this, it becomes negative interaction. So these are some of the things that I think we need to be very clear about. Now, if you don't do this, you might end up over-fertilizing. Once you over-fertilizing, you are stressing the plant. This is pineapple. And then you see, this is eutrophication, telling us too much of fertilization. But if you are being smart, you will save that fertilizer, translate into good yield. At the same time, you don't jeopardize the quality of environment. This is one of the consultancy work that we did, one of the biggest pineapple company in Malaysia, about 3,000 hectares. So you can imagine how much money we save for them and boost their yield. So these are some of the things. So this is the plantation. It's a huge tract of land. So by this is the kind of yield that they are getting. So this is where you deploy your knowledge. And then we also don't want to have the greenhouse gases. So we also have to monitor all this. Now, of course, like those of you in economics, diminishing return also counts in agriculture. When you overdo things again and again and again, you don't get good output. So this, once you get here, you stop. So how do you know this? By being smart, by know what is in the soil, what you need to add, and what the plant can take. This will need testing. This is why you need a lab. And these are the challenges that my understanding is back home. The laboratories that are testing for the plants, I mean the soil, the water quality, they need to be supported. And some, even if they are available, they are expensive. So these are some of the challenges. Now, another opportunity that we can count on as Ghanaians, if we don't have much kind of the resources, is to use soil color. Soil color can tell us a lot about the health of the soil and how it can translate into crop growth and development. So when you see dark brown to black soil, it tells us a lot. You get it? It can tell us the quality, whether the soil is fertile or not. This is very, very important, although some can be acidic, because it tells us about organic matter. And you know the heart of soil fertility is organic matter. So here, you can see here, but you have to be very careful. When you see a soil color like this, you are in a very serious problem. If you have bought the land, I can assure you, you have made a very bad investment. Why? Because this is sulfur. And you know sulfur is yellow in color. Now sulfur react with oxygen, can form sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide dissolved in water can form sulfuric acid. So this is what sulfuric acid will do. So once you buy a soil that is full of sulfur, yellowish, once you drain it or there is water, this is what you are going to have. This is what we call acid sulfate soil, and the pH can be even up to 2. You can imagine it can even corrode your skin. So this is not a soil that you need to. There are certain techniques we use to, rejuvenate the soil, but I don't have the time here. And then we have also light to brown to red. These are soils that have sufficient oxygen and water drainage is good. Remember, if you are going to grow, let's say maize, maize doesn't like too much of water. It's also oxygen-loving plant, and it doesn't like clayey soils. So here you need to understand. So this is the color. So you see here, this is a well-drained soil, has good oxygen, good water movement, and whatever. But when you come here, this is a waterlogged soil. That's why it's grayish. Grayish means that it is waterlogged. You buy this soil, you grow maize, you are already out. Even rice will have a problem. So here, the reddish color is also telling us another thing, that the soil is acidic. It has aluminum and iron, and it can be toxic. So these are the things. So this is some of the way that we bring the young ones to the field and we tell them. So this is a very nice soil with a well-drained system. So you are not going to have a waterlog, and then you are not going to have problem. You can see the organic matter. So this is a good soil. So if you are going to buy a soil for agricultural activities, you need to engage somebody to advise you. Otherwise, you are heading for bad investment. And once you see this color, bluish gray, don't buy this kind of soil. It's a waterlogged area. For you to really invest in this, you need elaborate drainage systems. Otherwise, your investment will be questionable. You see this area, bluish gray, that is telling you that it's a poorly drained soil. And even rice also, you need to have your canals and whatever to drain the soil. And these are some of the things that I can show you. Now, gray color or bluish gray can also mean that you have a lot of salt. The soil is salty. So once the soil is salty, you are going to have a problem. So these are the fundamental things. Now we have something called mottle colors. Here, this is iron. You know iron when it corrodes. Look at the iron sheet on our roofs. When they corrode, you see the color, it's just like that. So this is telling you this soil has a lot of iron. Therefore, when the plant roots touch on this iron, they will die out of toxicity. And where you see the grayish color means there is waterlog, intermittent waterlog. So this soil will be very challenging. You need a drainage system, and you need to lime the soil to detoxify the soil. So these are some of the things. Sometimes these soils can even, just like cancer, you see here, those of you just like this, they can get to a certain level that they will spread all over within, all over. So they will spread within the soil, just like the way cancer spreads. So here, this is the reddish kind of soil. So when you have a reddish kind of soil, there are two things. One, you will have to understand that the soil is acidic. Two, it will have aluminum, iron, and then it can be highly weathered soil. So it's getting to old soil already. So you need to know this. Sometimes you can see a soil that looks whitish, does not mean it's a good soil. You have to be very careful. It can mean that the soil is losing a lot of nutrients and is losing a lot of organic matter, just like human beings, just like we the blacks, when we bleach ourselves, then the color will tone to other light color. So when you see a soil like this, it means that you have lost most of your nutrients. That's why it's becoming whitish. So here, this soil will have problem. You dump in your fertilizer, it will be lost. A color like this might also tell you that the soil is a sandy soil. So if it's a sandy soil, you will have to have problem with water retention, and you need to add a lot of organic matter. So you need a lot of investment on this, right? So now sometimes the soil also can show something called lime, calcium carbonate, or gypsum. When your soil is too calcareous, also not good, because phosphorus will be fixed and the plants cannot grow well. So when the soil is so calcareous or salty, this is what happens. So you see patches in your field, they are not growing well. Even though you add fertilizer, it will not grow. So you need this kind of background. And these are all calcareous soils that are not acidic, but not good. Now, the last part of the talk will be acid soils. Whether we like it or not, these acid soils are dominated in the world. They make up 50% of the world, a soil. But when you come down, you see, when you look at Ghana, let's look at Ghana, whether you like it or not, you see the whole country is acidic. So not all, the major part of the country is acidic. So here, if you look at the global scenario, 50% of the world soil, arable land is acidic, 50%. And we in the tropics and the subtropics, we have almost 60% of it. So that's why you see Ghana here, we have a lot of acid soils or whatever. But don't worry, we have the technology, we know how to handle this situation. So we have different grades of soil acidity, but Ghana is not in ultra acidic or extremely, we are in very strong and moderate acidic kind of soil. So what do we do? Ideally, if you have a soil, ideally around 6 to 7 will be good for plants and whatever. That is the ideal situation. But it doesn't work like that. But we have ways and means of handling this situation. If you don't handle it, you are going to have problem with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur, and even your micronutrients. So we need to do some. This is why I think apart from other challenges, soil acidity could be one of the reasons why we are not hitting, we are not getting the self-sufficiency level, because we are taking the soil acidity for granted. Remember, I already told you about this. Iron, aluminum, they will bring in the picture. So when you have this, how can you be effective? You see, because you haven't solved the problem. Remember the smart farming, we need to solve the potential problem or the existing problem or prevent it. So you are not solving, so what do you expect? And look at the country also. When we talk about aluminium, we have some slight amount of aluminium, and aluminium also can be very toxic. You see here, the lower the pH, the higher will be your aluminium concentration. And once they touch the soil roots, they will destroy the roots. So here you need a system to neutralize the soil. And here we use lime, but lime is a mineral and is temporary. And if you overlime, you will be in trouble. So this is an example. So when you have aluminium, you see the plants are not growing well because the aluminium is toxic, it's destroying the roots. So here, look at the pH. The pH is 4. But when you bring in lime, by increasing the pH from 4 to 5, you can see how beautiful the roots are growing. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is when you have these kind of problems and you keep fertilizing, you are doing what we call cost 90 work. You are not being smart at all. So these are the things that we need to educate farmers. They be working, they don't get the returns simply because of this. Now, if we don't listen carefully, one of the important nutrients that will lead to plant growth and development is phosphorus. Now, when you talk about phosphorus, what is happening is when you have iron and aluminium, they hook the phosphorus like anchor, like a magnet. So here, what we need is we need a system that will repel the phosphorus and let it used by the plants. Now, when you do liming, you can solve the problem. But remember that when you overlime, it's just as acidic soil. So here we want to be here. So I'm going to show you some of our technologies. We never use lime. We went organic. I advocate for organic way of doing things. And you can see how it works. Now, another issue in back home is rainfall. June, July, we know, to August, we have a lot of rainfall. Much as we are having more rain, what is happening is it is washing most of our nutrient away if we don't have good organic matter. This is what we call leaching. So once the soil nutrient, the base cations, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, the good ones are being leached out, they will be replaced by iron and aluminium. So when iron and aluminium comes, when they come in, they are going to fix phosphorus. This is what we call phosphorus fixation. So when they fix them, the plants cannot take them. It's like they've been locked out. So when they are locked up, the plants will not be able to get phosphorus. And remember, now hydrogen ions will have the field day. And remember, hydrogen ions are toxic to plant, just like human skin. So they will just start to kill the plants. Now, this is what is going to happen. Therefore, the plant will start to die. Now, remember, once you are losing your phosphorus, phosphorus is good for good plant rooting system, photosynthesis, and energy transfer. So once phosphorus is locked out, these are the symptoms. So when you see purplish color like this, it's already telling you that you have problem with phosphorus, most likely because the soil is acidic, and then it also have iron and aluminium. If it's maize, this is how it will look like. So you have to fix this instead of dumping your fertilizer. So let us fix the root cause. If not, this is conventionally what we've been doing back home. You see, okay, the plant needs nitrogen, you just apply nitrogen. Remember, the type of nitrogen, you don't apply it where it changes to ammonia, especially urea. So this is what we call ammonia volatilization. Now your plants are not getting much and you are polluting environment. So the neighboring water bodies will look like this. That's number one, leaching. And then phosphorus, like I told you, phosphorus is very, very sensitive to aluminum and iron. So when you apply and you don't really arrest phosphorus, aluminum and iron, you will see that only a small amount of phosphorus is going to the plant. The rest are all being fixed in the soil. So it's more or less like you are just dumping your money away. But we have come out with an innovation where you can use waste to produce organic material, organic fertilizer, and then that will rather handcuff your aluminum and iron and repair your phosphorus. So here you can see that organic medium is rather fixing iron and aluminum and allow your P to go, because this organic system is negatively charged, phosphorus is negatively charged, so they repel. So these are some of the things that we are doing now, and I'm going to show you how we manage it. If not, the seriousness might even go. This is telling you again deficiency of phosphorus, And remember, I told you when the soil is not healthy, we will not eat healthy food. So you see, this is phosphorus deficiency. So imagine you want to eat this kind of maize. So these are the realities. And then phosphorus also causes this. Now, it doesn't end there. Potassium is also what? Susceptible to leaching. So once it's rain, they are going to be leached. So here again, only a few, ions will be going into the plant. So this is also not useful. So generally with more rain, to summarize it, you are losing. So how do we come in? So this is where I'm sharing with you our technology and innovation. What we do is we just look for waste. Any waste, you are talking organic waste, of course. So these are the waste materials. We are also all this. So you name any waste that you can think of that is plant-based or animal-based. We have utilized all of them. So these are the waste that we are using now to transform lives and then to make the soil fertile and improve product. This is cow dung, you are talking about chicken dung and all sorts of things. This is oil palm, empty fruit bunches. Even here, we are talking about the Kanta cake, you are talking about all sorts of things. So all these waste have been used. And a number of our students have worked on this. Some are working, some are already doing all sorts of things. So this is an example where you just have the waste, you just process the waste. We can even do in the lab, we can do it in the field in a large scale. So I'm just showing an example. For me, I believe in this. I work with my students. I work with our research team. So we have to participate for everybody to feel good about it. So we will be in the lab and we do the work, we develop the technologies and whatever, that the young folks will also learn and then transform the technology. So these are some of our former students who are now lecturers and doing very well now. So these are some of the products that you get. So these are the organic based fertilizers or organic fertilizers, full organic. And then from there, what do we do? We go national across the country. So I go around to real-time farming communities where we transfer the technology for the farmers. So these are some of the demonstrations. We teach them, they use their own waste. They don't go and buy it anywhere. We teach them together with Department of Agriculture what they need to do. These are some of the opportunities that I think we should alert the country and then see what we can do. It's very, very important. It's a very simple thing. So we teach the farmers, and once they are all right, their own waste, and then they will go and apply. So no need to buy your fertilizer from outside or whatever. So when I hear that we are talking too much about fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, buying them from outside, people go for jail for all these things. Why can't we produce our own things? So these are some of the products that we are producing from waste. It can be done. Very, very simple. So many of the products around, whether it being liquid or whatever. So now, why are we going organic? Remember, when you go organic, basically what you are trying to do is you are improving the soil quality, because these organic materials, they have something called humic acid, humic substance. So this humic acid, they are able to detoxify the soil. So all these aluminum, hydrogen iron will be detoxified, and then the soil health will be restored. So we have what we call fulvic acid, we have a humin. So we have a way to know that it is up to that level. So once we are sure, now these are the functions. This organic system will be able to lime your soil for you. They will detoxify your iron and aluminum. They will unlock phosphorus. They will make phosphorus available for you. And definitely they will also help. Remember when it rains, I told you that you will be losing your nutrients. So this is more or less like a hook, or more or less like a cushion. So they suck the nutrient, and they hold them temporary. And the buffering, remember the pH changes, it can also stabilize the soil buffering capacity. And then from here, you can condition, just like ladies, those of you who condition your hairs. So here, it can serve as a conditioner so that it can improve. Now look at this. This part is the conventional way, what we have been doing back home, and those who don't go smart in terms of farming, this is what we are doing. You just dump in your fertilizer, dump in. The soil color is telling me the soil is still sick. It has not been healed. It has not been restored. But when you go through our approach where you use the organic system, you see that the soil color now is different. Compare this color and compare this. Completely, this looks a little bit gray because we have detoxified the soil. And you can do this within 24 hours and then you plant at the same time. You don't have to wait for how many days or whatever. So you see, compare our technology with the existing. So this is what we are doing. So this is where we will never get to self-sufficiency in terms of food if we don't really rejuvenate our soils. This is why I took my time to give you that long background for you to appreciate where I'm heading to. Now you see here, just look at it. Look at the panicles and then look at here. Nothing is coming. They were all planted at the same time. And you can see clearly we have already made the soil healthy and then the plants are growing very well. This is a micro plot. I'm going to show you where we went big for you to see what is going on. Again, I keep telling you here, we are very, very interested in the youth because they hold the future. Therefore, we involve them at every stage, no matter the situation. And one thing I have realized is whenever the youth, when the young ones are interested, they do it to the best of their ability. This is the opportunity that we need to seize and involve our youth in this kind of agricultural activity. They are always excited. This is their own work. You get it? This is their own work. So these are some of the things. This is not rocket science. Now from here, we bring the student outside. So they have to go and help the community. So we are in some of the communities, and then we are doing the transfer of the technology. And then you can see clearly the plants are growing very well. And this is what we can see. So you see, this is what we call soil quality improvement using organic system. And then from here, we can even go to any type of crop that you talk about. So here I'm also showing you, even if you are talking about vegetable, this is our technology and this is the existing one. So this is what we are doing. So we back home, we need to change things. Very, very important. And we cannot waste any time. And these are some of the things that I can share with you. And this is one, I remember I told you our former student, the one in University of Ghana, this is corn. Those of you who know corn, Legon, farms. This is what, when my student went back, also applying the technology, and this is what is happening right in Ghana now. So it can be done, right? So here, these are some of the things. You see, this is just undergraduate students. Can you see, look at how beautiful the plants are. So this is it. And these are some of the things that our students have been doing. And then we go and then go check for them. And you can see clearly that the plants are doing very well. And you can see how the plants look healthy. So basically what I'm trying to say is we can be smart in what we do, so long as we have the interest. Now you can see how can you grow this and make you have some food sufficiency. This is where we want the nation to be. So these are some of the things. Now we went across the country, very huge areas, granary area, real-time farmers. So I'm going to share with you what we did with them. So here, normally what we do is we go in first, we look at the problems, we will host some sort of clinics, and then we will try to work with the farmers and understand them, then they understand what we are bringing in before we go in. So these are farmers that we are trying to talk to, we are holding clinics, and then from here, once they understand what we do, we are talking about hundreds and thousands of farmers. They come in batches, you can see. They are all, staggered. So from here, each group with their own problems, then we will settle them for them. So this is how we go. You can see some are even old, but still they are interested. So these are some of the things that I think that we need to be serious about. So once we go, then from here, once they understand, we go to their field. You can see these plants are doing very horribly. They are not doing very well. So we went there to give them our technology sponsored by the Ministry of Education. And then we are talking about, Ministry of Agriculture. So here, this is it. This is before our intervention. You can see the plants are not doing well. Now they are happy. They know what we are going to do. And then I'm going to show you the outcome. So now from here, this is another one. This person was advised to scrap the surface of the soil, forgetting that all the organic matter is gone. So we need to go in and salvage the situation. Now, so this is me and our group. We are in the field now. So we want to prove the concept for them. So this is the intervention. So of course, for rice, you need to have the granary areas, you need to plow the soil, and then you need to rotivate and go through different layers before we do the rice planting. So here, once we do, remember the soil, now you see the soil is not reddish, it's not yellowish, it's just detoxified, and you can see clearly that the soil is healthy. Now, this is where the intervention, you see, look at the previous ones that I show you and when you use our intervention. So this is what is going on. You can see how beautiful the plants are growing. So this is what we call smart farming, the technology. So if I hear that Ghana, we are not even getting 6 tons per hectare, here we are talking about 10 tons per hectare. You see, the population of Ghana is heading to 30 million. If we continue to produce below 5 hectares, we will ever remain importing rice. Even here, we need to hit 7 tons to 8 tons, 10 tons to have self-sufficiency. I checked some of the websites and we are having less 3 tons per hectare, 4 tons per hectare. Come on, what are we doing? So these are some of the things that we need to really change. So these are some of we are talking about divisions per division. These are just selected few. So these are some of the things that I can share with you at least. And this is a former minister for education. So of course they will come down. They don't just go and sit down, you give them a report. They will come down and check everything. So this is me moving them to the field and then we show them what we have been doing. So these are some of the things that I think I can share with you. There are a number of them, but I think time will not permit me. So it can be done if the will is there. So you see, what we also do is sometimes we do demonstration. This farmer, initially when we went to the place, they didn't want to adopt because they were forever. So what we do here, what they do is, if you produce beyond a certain threshold, you will get some sort of bonus. So we told them, okay, you adopt our technology. If you make losses, we will pay you. And then if you make profit, we will double your what do we call it, your incentives. And at the end of the day, you can see this is your technology, this is it. So this farmer has now become a model farmer going around to teach others. So this is what we, and this is the farm of the farmer. So you can see clearly that you need some agronomic understanding for you to break even into agriculture. And these are the grains. So you see now the farmer, we are hitting 7 to 10 tons per hectare. Some of them are getting 13 tons per hectare. And the minimum profit that they are having will be 2,400 to 5,000. And this is getting to almost 7,000 to 10,000 Ghanaian cedis. So these are some of the things that I think I could share with you. And then we also have the technology. We are going smart, and then we look at the quality. Whether when you bring in the intervention, what is the food quality, and all this, we have all the technologies to test everything because we want to be technologically oriented. This is what we call the dielectric approach. And we have tried it in several kinds of crops, including what we call papaya, the one you call pawpaw. You can see beautifully, they are all growing very well. In fact, for papaya, if you adopt this kind of technology, you will double the yield. We double the yield, almost 100% increase. And then we also improve the quality, the taste, and then we also improve the nutrient availability. The soil pH is good, and then definitely we reduce, instead of harvesting 8 months, we have brought it to 6 months. And at the end of the day, we are also increasing the size. Now, getting to the end, I'm going to show you soilless agriculture. Now we are talking about hydroponics. What do we mean by hydroponics? You are growing your plants without soil, but the medium is only water plus your nutrient. That is all that hydroponics is about. So again, these are how beautiful it is. Can you tell me agriculture is a dirty job if you work in this kind of hydroponic systems? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it pleasing? Isn't it appealing to your eyes? You are talking about lettuce and whatever. So here there is no soil. Remember, I told you we are running out of soil. So these are some of the things. Then we have something called aquaponics. Aquaponics means that you have your fish plus your plant and water, no soil. So here they exist in what you call mutualism. So you have aqua, mean aquaculture, fish. Hydro means water plus plant, then you can plant them. Why do we bring them together? We bring them together because this fish will be eating and release nutrient. The nutrient is ammonia. Ammonia will dissolve in water to produce ammonium. Ammonium is a nitrogen fertilizer, and that will be used to fertilize the soil. And then the plant also will filter the soil from too much of carbon dioxide, so make it fresh for the fish. So this is what we call mutualism. This is why we call it aquaponics. So it can be done, it is done, and we do it a lot here. And these are some of the examples that I can share with you. Now, we also have something called aeroponics. Aeroponics means You don't use water, you don't use soil, but you can still grow. So how? Through mixed blower. You see, in the rooting system of any plant, soil is just a medium to support the plant plus nutrient. But if you have all the nutrients and you have a supporting pole or you have a supporting system, what you can do is, without even water, just maintain the root, the the rhizosphere. Make sure that the rhizosphere, the roots do not dry. How do you do that? You can use mist blower. So here, you see here, this is a water tank plus the nutrient. So when you blow the water, it creates a mist around the roots. So when the roots are growing, so longer they don't dry, they get the nutrients and whatever, then they grow. So this is what we call aeroponics. So here, aero, meaning we are using through air. We are not using water. So this is it. So these are the roots that you blow the mist, and then it will make them all right. So at the end of the day, this is what it is. This is the water plus nutrient, blow the mist around the roots, and there you go, the plants are growing. So these are the advancement of agriculture that we are talking about. So what is the advantage of using aeroponics? You don't have no pests, save water, fast growth, and whatever. Let's do comparison. If you use soil, this is where you are. If you use cocoa peat, this is where you are. If you use aeroponics, you can see how beautiful the plants are. So these things can be done at home. If you want to go commercial, these are some of the things. So these are all aeroponics in the greenhouse. Right. Now, fertigation, getting to the end of my talk. When you talk about fertigation, it can be soil fertigation, it can be soilless fertigation. These are opportunities we can tap into if we are in Ghana. So when you talk about soil, fertigation is basically you use water plus fertilizer to irrigate your plants. So that is all that fertigation is about. So here you will have your nutrient tank plus your water, mix them together, then you blow them to the plants. So there are different types of fertigation and different crops that you want to use. You just have to have your piping system, and there you go. So these are some of the things. Sometimes you can just blow them through the foliar application. This is foliar, this is foliar, that is foliar. And then the soilless also, you can do fertigation. Here there is no soil, so you have to have your nutrient solution. We have solution A, solution B, and then you mix them together, and then there you go. So if you want to go all these kind of things where you don't want soil, then you call it what? Planting medium. So all the organic system that we have developed can also be used for as a what? Planting media for us to grow. So being tomato, rock melon, whatever. Once we develop it, you can. So to conclude, what I can say is smart farming is ideal for our country. It offers a lot of opportunities, and the country also has a lot of opportunities. And then we can somersault the world, we can overcome the challenges. And this smart farming can propel us in making some profits without jeopardizing the environment. We can be environmentally efficient, agronomic, and socioeconomically efficient. But remember, we should focus on preventive measures and stress less on mitigation, and we don't want corrective at all. So this is where precision farming is. So now the last part, just me show you pictures. For us, our stakeholders are very important to us. So we will follow them to their houses in a very informal way. Then we will discuss. This is one of the richest farmers in their divisions because he follows a lot. So we have a lot of, what we call it, discussions. And this is one of the prominent kings in the country. His position is equivalent to Otunfo Asantehene. So this is where you see how serious they are. They've heard about us. And then this is the time that I was awarded an award, and then they will come around and then look at what is going on. So good things really pay. So his position is more to Otunfo Poku. I'll say to two. And this is this is the chief minister, the deputy chief minister of Sarawak. This is where we also showcase what we are doing, because we want to convince them, and they must also, because these are policy makers, we need to influence them. So this is where we are trying to demonstrate to them. And this is our former vice chancellor, is a lady. So these are some of the things. And they remember the minister for environment and technology, all of them they come together, and then this is where we work together. And That's how it is done. And then we have invitation from the Chamber of Commerce, where we tell them about modern farming and they are willing to invest. So these are some of the things we come in the newspapers. And then we also have stakeholders consultations with the industries. You are talking about the farming communities. You are talking about the global players. We also have meetings with them. And then we are also talking about industrial linkages. So we do all these things because they need to understand. Otherwise, the perception, and we do exhibitions to also display what is going on. And for me, when we have serious discussion with our stakeholders or policymakers, I make sure that our students are part of it. So you can see some of the students, we are having micro session because they are the future. They need to learn what is going on. So I don't believe in bossy type of things. So this is how we bring them, and this is how they learn. Even during dinner time, these are big tycoon investors. So during the dinner time, we talk about issues and they will be there and they will also be learning. So these are some of the things. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm sorry I've taken your time, but I think the topic is so vast that I have to just squeeze some of them, and then this order I can do. Thank you very much. Back to the chairperson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osumanu.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we can take over. Brother Abdurrahman's hand is up. Brother Yusuf's hand is up. But before they come in, Prof, there was one question, I think it was asked by somebody in the chat section. He was saying that if you could briefly let him understand what, I think, how does one develop expertise? Okay, there are several. Okay, so he's saying agriculture 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. What does it mean, briefly? And then what is green farming different from smart farming?
All right. When we say agriculture 1.0, 2.0, 3, 4, we are talking about the generation, the cycle, the revolution. 1.0 was what we call the olden age. You remember the Stone Age? Okay. You remember? And slowly we were doing things in a very, very manual way, very, very specific, just to our locality. Then from there, we move on to what we call gardening. If you remember gardening. Yeah. So we move on to gardening and we move on to small scale kind of farming, community type of farming, that is 4.2. And then 2.0. Then we move on to what we call, remember, what we call mechanization, agricultural mechanization. And this agricultural mechanization, that is the third generation. Now we are talking about the fourth generation, where we are talking about what? We are talking about cloud kind of farming. We are talking about drones. We are talking about satellites, remote sensing. So all these things come together. So here it is more to mass production, but with optimum utilization of resources. Remember 3.0, we talk about mechanization, but we realize that mechanization, yes, you can produce a lot to feed the industries. However, the quality of the environment was being jeopardized in terms of erosion, greenhouse effect, and whatever. So these corrective measures in the next level, which is the fourth generation, is called agriculture 4.0. So it is the chronology of the development of agriculture until today. So that is what we mean by 1.0, whatever, what is it? That is what I can say. Green agriculture will be a subset of smart farming. Green agriculture means you are trying as much as possible to optimize resources. It can be using biological approach or organic approach. At the same time, you are not trying to what we call degrade the quality of the environment. So here we are not talking about greenhouse gases. So that is what we call green type of agriculture. So it is another form of smart farming. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great, great. Prof, thank you. Prof, one more question, then we'll go to the floor that people can unmute and ask. The question is, how does one develop the expertise in the area of agriculture if you are from a different field of study, such as finance?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's just like me now wanting to go and learn finance.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? It's a matter of your passion. It's a matter of why you want to go into that profession. In fact, here I have seen medical doctors who have left their profession and they are big time agricultural, activists now, and they are doing very well. In fact, our former student, Dr. Ali, that I'm talking about, as at now, he's collaborating with what we call it brigadiers, commanders, pilots. They've come together. Sorry, Dr. Ali, if you are here, I'm not exposing you. And they are building their own farm. So basically, first, your interest must be there. And you must be willing to know the fundamentals of agriculture. So you need to approach it with open-mindedness. That is the only way. So it's all about acquiring knowledge. So you acquire the knowledge and you practice it, as simple as that. It's just like any other profession.
Great, great. Thank you, Prof. I think the first person is Brother Abdurrahman, I think from Malaysia. Brother Abdurrahman, your hand is up. You can ask your question. Yeah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Prof, for this wonderful presentation. I'm a civil engineer by profession and also a farmer in Nigeria. So my interest in what you presented regarding vertical farming and rooftop farming. Are there some sites for us here to install in Malaysia for us to go and see practically where this vertical farming and rooftop farming has been executed, and to see the effect of the farming, the water, the moisture on the building, so that we can see how we can improve? It can be an area of research too. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, in Malaysia, we can talk about, if I talk about Cameroon Highlands in particular, they deal with a lot of vegetables. That's one. And we have another place called Kundasan. They also deal with a lot of vegetables. And then the best place so far now for vertical farming is Singapore. If you have access to Singapore, you can see a lot of vertical farming going on there. Malaysia is picking up now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
You are most welcome. Please feel free. Feel free.
Brother Geoffrey, your hand was up, so you can ask your question now. Brother Yusuf Geoffrey.
I think
yes. Brother Yusuf, your line is.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. This is
okay now. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Please
to have you to learn from you. It's really like it's a dream come true for some of us to have. Please, can you hear me?
No, I think your voice
we are struggling to hear you guys.
I think my network is very bad, so I'll type.
I think why can't they write the questions and then you read the questions?
Yes, please, some
of
you.
So I think my network is bad.
Yeah, please listen.
I'll type it, inshallah. I'll type it.
Yeah. Please type your questions. Some of you, your internet, I think there's a problem. So if you can type your questions, that would be great. But when you try and we can't hear you, I'll plead with you to type your questions. So Brother Muntala is a medical doctor and is now a doctor beyond borders. He's now in Sierra Leone. You can ask your question.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you to Professor, and we are very happy to have you among our midst as Muslims. I just want to pass this quickly. I don't know how to go about it, but I have about 5 acres of land, which is 20 plots in Ghana. That is about 70 feet by 100 feet for one plot. So 20 of that, I don't know how many acreage that is. And I'm looking forward to any kind of partnership or somehow we can use that to start some form of agriculture, work, so that it will not be lying there fallow like that, And it's in the heart of Accra, somewhere closer to the Volta region. When you bypass Central University, the place is called Chopoli. I don't know if you know about that place. Chopoli is on the highway going to the Volta region, really.
Yeah, I think it's a popular place now where the affordable housing is.
Very good, very close to the affordable housing. Yeah. So this is what I'm just putting on board. Let's see what you can come up with. So I think I'll leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.
So if I understood you correctly, you want me to react to your proposition?
Yes, please.
I'm not in Ghana, and the first thing is, normally when you want to go into this thing, I will advise you, the first point of call is we need to characterize the soil.
Brilliant.
I can't say anything without knowing much about the soil. You get it? So first, the soil need to be characterized. And then from there, we can decide. I'm not saying now, then that will enable us to decide what kind of agricultural approach we'll adopt.
Okay.
You get it? So at the moment, for me to say, yes, we need to do this, we need to do this, no. The only way that I can talk about, if I can even see the soil, by seeing the soil, I can tell you the properties. You see, so at the moment, I can't say much. Perhaps we might talk it off here.
Yeah, all right. So I think Brother Siraj will take this up. So that if there's something we can do this, yes. Brother Siraj.
Yes.
And in your case, because you are close to Accra, you can have a model where you do more of urban farming.
All right.
You go organic, and then you target the outlets like the malls or whatever. I think that would be good, because the way you are describing your place is strategic, I guess.
Yeah, very strategic. Brother Siraj.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a say on this.
Yes, inshallah. So I think, like Prof said, we'll have to take this up after the event too. We can have more discussion with Prof, and then we'll proceed from there. Inshallah.
All right. Okay. Now, assalamu alaikum.
We are grateful. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so Mr. Muntaka Zakari can ask his question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Muntaka, can use Muntaka. Yeah, so, Prof, well done, Prof. This is Mutalib here.
Oh, yes, how are you?
Fine, sir. We have been listening to your series of lecture on agriculture, and we feel like maybe saying the cost to become like you. But I'm just wondering, is it possible for you, sir, to take like a 1-year sabbatical, maybe in Ghana or in Nigeria, so that this kind of knowledge, some of them we need to be kind of practical, so that people at home can really work very close with you, even for 1 year. I believe by that time the knowledge can be transferred to them, then they can really take it up from there.
That's a good point. So if I got you correctly, I should take sabbatical and go back home?
Yeah, even 1 year or 1 year, at least 1 year.
It's not a problem, but on condition that who is going to host me and who is willing to listen to what. You see, that's a very good idea.
And let me come in. I'll host you, Prof. Prof, I'll host you.
Okay,
no,
so
frankly speaking, I'm not really happy to see back home things could be done easily, and then we are having all these kind of problems. I think it really aches my heart. Because you just look at it from this, where we keep hammering, we have waste. The waste has become a problem. You have to pay Zoom Lion or somebody like some company like this to come and even that one is also another issue. All of a sudden you start taxing and all sorts of things when we could just use this waste and transform the waste and then make good use of the waste. So, I mean, for me, we are willing, but who is going to host us and who is going to listen to us? Here you see the progress because they are willing to listen and they are willing to invest. You see some of these programs that I show you, those of you who are in Malaysia, it's getting to almost 18 to 20 million dollars. I mean, there's ringgit Malaysia. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of things have been done. You get it? And none of the ringgit came into our pocket. You don't even see the money. You get it? So we are willing to help the nation, not in Ghana, anywhere. But the problem is it fertile for us to go or not? That is my concern. Dr. Mutaka, you want to react to this?
Doc, Prof, before they come, I want to even react. I want to inform them that Prof has a very formidable PA. So those of you who want Prof away from Malaysia, you have to write a long letter to one madam called Dr. Adiza Musa. So don't try to be pulling Doc off like that.
No, I'm really willing to help. I want to contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, so Prof, to let you know, Prof has done his best. This one, I didn't ask Prof's permission, but I want to say it. He has done everything to reach out to his country, to help, to serve, and we don't want to discuss some things here, but the kind of actions some politicians play and all that, if we say we are going to go through here, we will not end the program. And so that's making it clear. If only we have the political economic will to host him, I think what the brother said is just amazing. It has always been on my mind, actually. People like Prof should actually be the agri ministers and the rest, or they can consult him, the ministry can consult him, and let him come and do some of these things. And Prof is ever ready. Trust me. Some of us know him, and we know he's ever ready to serve his country. So it's just a matter of we getting ready and then making the arrangements, inshallah. That will help. I think
Thank you very much, Brother Suraj. Just to clarify this point, I personally am not interested in politics, and I'm not interested in being a minister. I just want to work.
Prof, we are forcing you to be.
And I'm not very much bothered who is in power.
Yeah.
I've never had a political affiliation.
No.
All that is important to me. You get to a certain level, you just want to see your country doing well. And you just want to see the continent doing well. Here, we have demonstrated to them that the way they think about Africans is not always like that. You get what I'm saying? So for that part, thank you very much. But politics has never been my blood and it will not be in my blood. Thank you very much.
Yes. And Prof, some of us can vouch for that. Prof is very neutral. Actually, I can say Prof is like me. We don't care about politicians. We don't care about the politics. We care about the growth of the country and the nation at large. So thank you, Prof. So I think quickly, Brother McKean's hand has been up for a very long time. And he also came early. Brother McKean, you can ask your question now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, Prof, thank you very much for this lecture. We're very much grateful. I am into poultry farming for some time now, but I want to move into crop. And luckily, I met the former agri minister some years back, and he told me about organic farming and the prospect. So I developed interest in organic farming from there. And today, interestingly, I heard you also talking about organic farming and how we could, use waste to make fertilizers and stuff. Actually, I don't know, but just as your brother mentioned, I think that farming is more practical, and sometimes we really need people close, like you, or at least some of your students. So I want to say, I want to find out first if you have some students around here in Ghana that some of us could go to, and at least start with them before probably, God willing, you come in later sometime, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother McKean. Yeah, that's what I say. Are you in Accra?
Yes, please.
Okay, you may go to Legon.
Okay.
And then you ask of Dr. Ali Maru.
Okay, Dr. Ali Maru.
Yes.
Okay. I think I know him.
He's doing very well. He learned a lot here. He did his master's and PhD here. And then I've been communicating with him. He's doing very, very well. And I strongly believe he can help you.
MashaAllah. All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Very much grateful. Meanwhile, I'll also see if I can get your contact from Brother Siraj, so that from time we could contact you directly, inshallah.
Inshallah, that's fine. Brother Fahad Jibril can ask his question. Brother Fahad, ask a question. Okay, so if it is not ready,
I'm sorry, somebody is asking about how practical is it going to be for us to practice smart farming in Africa? You see, for me, the way I see smart farming is not only the gadgets, it's practical. It's practical in a way. Example, we used to practice smart farming in cocoa plantations. During our time, you just have to weed the cocoa plant, the plantation, clean it as much as you can, recycle the pods and whatever. During our time, there was nothing like chemical fertilizer. You get what I'm saying? It was purely green. It was only when we started messing up with our system, the ecosystem degraded. That's where we started talking about all these fertilizers and the cost and whatever. So basically, that's what I'm saying. Smart farming, if you don't have the gadget, we can start by understanding the soil and the plant interaction. You get what I'm saying? Then slowly, as we understand, we know, okay, we might need sensors, we might need this. Then slowly you bring in. But I can assure you, when you adopt smart farming, this question has been there. Even when we go to the ministry, we have data to show that when you go smart farming, you can really improve your yield and reduce your cost by 30%. That is what we have now. And as I'm telling you, not necessarily you have to use light diodes and whatever. If you have the experience, you don't need certain gadgets. So for me, yes, initially Africa, we might think we don't have stable electricity, we don't have this. But the point is, when are we going to start? If we have a lot of money going down the drain through corruption, and we don't have money to fix ourselves, to feed ourselves, then what are we really doing? Remember, like I told you, this research that we've been doing with our team and whatever, we started with 10 million. And then from there, they gave us 1.2 million, then another 4 million. So you see here, at the end of the day, we have changed the national dynamics. So are we saying that we don't have, Africa is so poor that we cannot even invest in technology, or it has become a mentality? We are not poor. We only have mispriority. Somebody can siphon a lot of money to do something that is unnecessary, but we feel that is fine. But when it comes to doing the right thing, we say, how practical is this? Do we have the money? So for me, I can answer the question and say, it's doable. We have the money, but we don't have the willpower. Yeah. Let me go a little bit upfront like that. It's not that expensive.
Prof, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You are a computer scientist and whatever. How much does it take really to build a software?
Nothing, almost nothing. But
how much?
But they'll make it look like the heaven is coming down.
Not really.
Yeah.
Even our students, they develop their own apps.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just like a huge satellite moving around. These drones now, they are becoming even cheaper. Like in our case, we just buy simple drone, you customize it, it will fly over your field and then give you the data. If you don't want, you can even buy the data from remote sensing center. This is something that we need to establish. The country needs a remote sensing center. You get what I'm saying? We need these things. We are not poor. We are really not poor like we think. And this is the mentality that we make, and everybody feels that we are poor, we cannot do anything. But we are here, we are dealing with them. They are not super than any one of us, but they know how to manage the system. They really, really have very, very good management systems. You see, like the research that we did, all this money, you will not see the money. It will not come to you. Whatever you want to buy, you need to, because everything is, you are monitored everywhere. You get what I'm saying? So, but I have heard that in certain situations, people are giving research money and they use it to build houses. So what kind of money do we need to do that kind of work? So brother, it can be done. It can be done. It's practical and we need to do it.
Well,
because otherwise it's you do or you don't do. The rule is simple.
Well,
sorry,
I think you've answered this question indirectly, but let me just ask it. The brother who wanted to ask earlier, but couldn't ask, he said, what's the financial, first of all, he thanks you, Jazakallah khair. He said, what's the financial implications for smart farming in our part of the world, considering how it's required to start a farm from an acre of land or farm? Yeah, I think so. So more or less, he's trying to say how financially feasible it is. I think this is what you just answered, considering how you need a bigger land, an acre of land before you start something like that. Is it required? So I think that's a question. Is the question clear, Prof? Or I should take it again?
Yeah, I think if you just have 1 hectare of land, I think if you want to, let's say for instance, I'm not sure about Ghana, but here, if you have 1 hectare of land, you don't even need 10,000 ringgit to start everything. Wow. My former supervisor used only 5,000 to start, and now he's a millionaire. So it depends on what you have and the type of crop you want to grow. On the hectare, what type of crop do you want to grow? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And if you have 1 hectare of land, you can even go manual and you can make it. The only thing is you need to know, analyze your soil, know what is the content, nutrient content, and then manage it slowly. But I can't give you the figure in Ghana because I'm not there and I'm not sure. But if I were you, 1 hectare of land, seriously speaking, I would not spend more than 10,000 Ghanaian cedi 1 hectare and I will make it. Anyway, it depends on your experience anyway.
Yes, yes. Prof, some comments, I think we deserve to read them. From Gabi, he said, Ghana needs you, Prof. I pray and hope someone day Allah will make the necessary provisions for you. Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Can Prof share any contact like email? This would be great to reach him for further consultation and information. So
I think, Brother Sraj, you have the details. Maybe you may share if you don't mind.
So we'll do that. Please share website or platform here. One can find more information on this. Very insightful and eye-opener. Please, I want to find out whether the presenter runs consultancy. I think he wants a consultancy services for farmers. Yeah. So, Prof, your consultancy firm, if any, they want to know, inshallah, we share that.
You mean Ghana or here?
I want to believe he doesn't mind. It could be anywhere, but in other words, just to consult you.
Sure, no worries.
I think some of them are ready, so they want to consult on a professional level. And
sure.
Okay, so very insightful lecture. Glad to have been part. God bless your efforts in what you are doing for the world. So in other words, this is a question, I believe. So I'll ask him in form of question. Do you have plans to hold more sessions, whether online or physical?
Yeah. Anyway, this depends on the organization. I Actually, what I did today was just to give you an overview.
Yeah.
Let's say like urban farming itself is a whole model. Hydroponics is a whole model. So today I'm giving you an overview. If you have specific kind of agriculture, then we can have series of whatever. It depends on what the organizers will say.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So the access, so somebody is also making a comment. I think it was based on when you talked about Africa. He said, to us, the access to finance, access to loan, and lack of training are the three key barriers to youth engagement in agriculture in Africa. So I think this is his comment. Yeah, I think he agrees with what you said. Yeah.
It's very true, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's really, really unfortunate that until now we keep talking about things like this.
Yeah, yeah. So we need our leaders to help us. Yeah. So, Prof, could you recommend which crops one can grow in terms of mixed cropping for harvest all year round? So he doesn't want to. He wants to harvest all year round.
You want mixed cropping?
Yes.
You see, I just heard about it and I was shocked. Are you aware that we still have problem with maize?
Wow.
Can you imagine? So I would recommend, if you can mix crop, if you can do maize plus any type of the what do you call it, the greens, cowpea or whatever, you can do them. I can do almost 4 or 5 times a year if you are very efficient. You can do that.
Yeah.
And you can even do banana intercrop with pineapple.
Yeah.
It's also another feasible way of doing things. So you can go ahead. You see, the trick is like this. You grow one crop that is quite nutrient demanding, then you match it with another crop that fixes nutrient into the soil. That's why I said if you take maize, you should add maybe leguminous plants so that they can fix nitrogen back. And remember, the leguminous plant will grow and you harvest before you go for the maize. Or if you don't want, I just heard 2 days ago that even cassava that we used to grow, we are having challenges because the yield is declining. Only to go and bring some company with fertilizer, go do some research and say the fertilizer increase whatever. Why you research agency, why do you go and call others with chemical fertilizer? What is your expertise? Develop the fertilizer and give it to the farmers. A very indigenous type of fertilizer. So here, even cassava also you can grow with your greens, and then they can also add on to the soil fertility of the soil. So it can be done like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, the soils that we have, the problems are not so challenging like the one we have here. Those that we have here are very, very challenging. But still, we do something about it. And I'm sorry to say that I'm also not happy with the way some of our extension agencies are dealing with the farmers. When we had this issue, or what do you call it, armyworm, whatever, right?
Yes, yes. The locusts and all that.
We take a farmer to use Omo. Why? Anyway, so those are the things. So sorry to digress, but the point is you can go for greens and then you go for cereals, or you can go for cassava, you can add on to greens. It's also possible.
Okay. Prof, I think somebody said, please, I will request the recording to be sent. Yes, sure. The recording will be on our YouTube channel and other platforms. We are a small private company promoting farming using drip irrigation technologies. Okay, no problem.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Badlu Masood, that's fine. And it also asks how much is ringgit to Ghana cedis. So ringgit is about 1.4 thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think 1.41 now.
Yes.
Or 1.42.
Yeah, 1 point. Yeah. So he was asking because you were mentioning 10,000 ringgit and all that. So just take it to be like 14,000 Ghana cedis thereabout.
But,
okay.
But I'm not saying 14,000 Ghana cedis can, if I were there.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm not sure whether they can handle that. I'm just a figure that for me, I'm comfortable with.
Yes, yes. So that's why. How do we grow plants that do not grow in certain areas? For instance, how to grow certain plants in Nigeria which are not available in Ghana?
Aha. So these are the things. First, we need to know. Let's go by climate first. Okay. Let's say, assuming we don't have much climatic differences, then that will be fine. The first thing, the second thing will be you need to look at the soil where the plant is grown. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And we know if we have that information, we can match it with the soil that we have. If we don't have exact soil, we can manipulate the soil. I give you an example. Are you aware that my students are growing sorghum here?
Wow.
As I'm telling you now, they are doing their PhD in sorghum and millet. And remember, sorghum is never grown in mineral soils that are clayey. But we are using the organic system to manipulate the soil to create that kind of conducive environment. You know Barbara groundnut, right? Barbara groundnut and all these things are considered future crops in Malaysia that we are trying to work on now. So the fact that it's not working in Nigeria, if it's not really a serious climatic difference, then you can bring it, even if it's climatic difference and you can create a greenhouse and you can mimic the condition in the greenhouse is possible. But I believe that whatever grows in Nigeria should be able to grow in Ghana.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and Nigeria is also big, so I think they have different kinds of soil and lands and all that, I believe.
If it's north, then we'll be heading to the north of Ghana.
Yeah, okay. So, Prof, somebody said, I'm in Tamale in northern Ghana. Some companies have started already and many farmers are on course. Example is Hikma Agribusiness Services. They grow yam seeds using greenhouse on small plot of land. So that's just an information.
Yes.
Somebody also said Israel runs webinars yearly and many people join. Does Prof have plans to regularize these webinars? This is very important to grow a caliber of knowledgeable people and business people to start this revolution. It will certainly take some time. Yes, I'm sure. I think this Prof, I'll take this from Prof. Some of these webinars are very expensive, but we are getting for free thanks to people like Prof. Honestly, this Israel you mentioned, I'm sure their government are sponsoring some of these webinars and all that. So, time value for money. If we can get people to sponsor Prof, Prof is ever ready. You can see this on record, Prof is doing this for us for free. This knowledge is sharing with us. He has not taken anything from us. So honestly, we appreciate it. So I think that's what I can say for now. I'm Charles Atolia. Sorry if I've not.
Mugis, you don't have anything to say. Mugis and then Dr. Motaka, you don't have anything to say. Adiza, okay. You want to say something?
Okay, then let me read this so they will come in. I've even missed them already, so I'll let them come in.
So, can you hear me?
Mugis, I'll let you come in.
Okay. No problem.
So hold on for me. I'm Charles Atolia, retired lecturer living in South Africa, but a Ghanaian. I intend having a shared nut tree plantation in Upper East region. I wish to go smart farming of intercropping. You may advise me. Thanks, Prof, for your great lecture. Can you send me the recording to you? The recording, as we said, will be on our YouTube channel. So yeah, Prof, I don't know if you want to react to this before Mugis come in. He wants you to advise him as he intends having a shared nut tree plantation in Ghana, in Upper East. In Ghana.
Yes, you are right. Share nut is another thing that you can even export the butter or them. But just like any other tree, normally when you go for the planting, you need to manage the soil. So you do the planting, but you need to plant a cover crop. Just like here where they do oil palm, they will plant a cover crop called Mucuna bracata. So what you can do here is, whilst waiting for the crop to grow, you grow a cover crop. And normally we always advise that when you deal with cover crops, you go for leguminous plants. nitrogen fixing kind of plants. They are fast growing, the lifespan is gone, then they will you can plant again, and then they are fixing your nitrogen, and then they are also improving the organic matter of the soil. So I think that because they will be dying as the plants start to shade. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So Baramugi.
Yes, please.
Good. I think it's better now, so you can take over.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Baramugi is on the floor. Yeah, Baramugi. Yeah,
okay. Sorry, Prof. Yeah, it's been a very long.
He's very enterprising, so I want to hear from him. He's very, very enterprising.
Yeah, Prof has witnessed the land. We went to see my land last time. We went to do some farming, and at least Prof went there to check the soil, the pH level of the soil, and gave some good comments on it. Actually, I always tell Prof we need him in Ghana. We need to establish something great. We even came up with an idea to establish a university back in Ghana so that we can be able, to propagate this knowledge for people, at least for Ghanaians to also benefit, to share some part of the cake, because Malaysians, I think they are better off. They've enjoyed Prof the most. So we need to also to have this knowledge. We even, came out with the idea of establishing an institute whereby, we will set it back in Ghana, to be teaching people, a lot of agricultural, technologies. All these technologies, we need it back home. But, there's one thing we have a problem of, that's confidence. We don't have confidence in ourselves. We don't believe that all these things we can do. Even I have many friends here, they are sending fertilizers to Ghana to sell. They are sending these coconuts, they are sending, there is one breed of coconut, it's very short one, from Thailand, and also northern part of Malaysia. Now I think they've started exporting to Africa, and even they asked me to get into the Ghanaian market to see how well they can market the thing. But to me, I see in Ghana we have coconut a lot. All we need is to be able to make it a cash crop, so that we'll do it in large scale and sell, because our land is fertile. It's more fertile than here. But how much more that here they are cultivating more of this, this sawi, the palm fruit more than us in Ghana. So I think one thing is mismanagement. The second thing is also lack of confidence. And the third thing is corruption. So one thing I do believe in is that if we can be able to make something, it has to be privatized. If it is private, we can move on. But if we try to make it something more of, public or, national thing, I don't think it's going to go forward. So Prof, I think my advice is for us to, because I think I already shared all my ideas with Prof before. Even then, now it came to the essence that we even do perfumes on our own. I even asked Prof on roots, how the roots can stay longer in liquids and all that. So, but Prof, for your information, we have new development on now. There is another company that we've created called My Halal Basket. So My Halal Basket is basically a basket full of halal products. So now we have the supermarket here in Shah Alam already, it's running. Because before we thought of establishing, massage center. So once we did, and the PKP started, so we cannot run. So I just converted overnight into a supermarket. So now the supermarket is running in Shah Alam, and we are selling all kinds of essential items, being it halal. So now we've created a website, www.myhalalbasket.com, where you can get all kinds of products. And now we are featuring African products. So all kinds of organic, halal organic, that is the main thing. It has to be halal and organic. So all kinds of products that you can get from Africa, being it nuts. Basically nuts, we have the cashew, pistachio, macadamia, the hazelnut and all that. We also have the pomegranate, we have habatu sauda, we also have the Arabic gum from Sudan and all that. So we are featured into the website for people who would like to have halal and organic products. So they go in, let's say people in Asia who would like to have African produce. They can go onto the website and buy. And this one also, it starts from 1 bit to 1 container and even more than that. And also people in Africa who would like to buy something from Asia, it is going to be a gateway to the African and also the outside world, so that people in Africa, let's say someone in Ghana or someone in Kumasi somewhere who wants to buy, let's say this kind of technology of Prof, and the person doesn't know how to get it. So if we are going to create a portion on the website whereby the person can just go there, he buys the product. So basically that is what we are doing right now. And this one has to do much more with tech, with agriculture, because most of the product we are selling also comes from the land. All these products are from agriculture. So now if the people, at least in Ghana, are not being able to produce quality products, especially, so in that case, if it goes into this, the test, it cannot be able to pass, so we can be able to sell to the world. So my advice is modernization of our own local products. And something I will also talk about is packaging, Prof. I think you should also include packaging in your talks. When you talk to, let's say, like people in Ghana or people in agriculture, packaging is the #1 thing. Let's say if you have a very quality cashew nut and it's just in a plate, you've not packaged it in a very nice, in a nice shredded plastic with a very nice packaging on it, people wouldn't see it. It's just a normal, packaging, like that. So, it's just a normal cashew. But if it is being packaged so well, that is where we get the branding in. So I think these are things that we also have to harness on. Since Prof talked about the soil, he talks about the crops, how we can be able to produce the product. Now, after we've gotten the product and all that, how do we able to maintain the product, or how do we able to market the product to the outside world? I think this one also is very, very important, because that is where we come in. We are, like the B2C, B2B, the intermediary. But when we are seeking for the products, we need quality ones. And how do we get? And also the packaging is very important. So if it's not being packaged, no matter how you produce the yield and everything, we cannot promote it to the outside world. So I think Prof also should include this one. The branding, the packaging part, I think is going to.
Okay, brother.
It's going to help a lot.
Yes, thank you very much for the nice comments and whatever.
Yeah.
You see, in the at professional level, we don't claim to say things that we don't have expertise in. So that's why packaging and these things, they are not my expertise. So it will be professionally unacceptable for me to come and be talking about them. So this is the beauty of knowledge. So the one who is well versed in that area could be invited to talk about these things. So I'm just my part is production. But it's well taken. Back to the chair. Thank you very much, Brother Mugis.
Thank you, Prof. I will talk to you behind the table, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Brother Mugis. We are grateful. Sister Amina, before you come in, Sister Adiza, let's hear you. Honorable Dr. Adiza, do you have something to share with us? Okay, so if she's available, Prof, somebody is also encouraging you to do YouTube, probably if you have your YouTube channel, because it's also a great way to share knowledge and to get people to sponsor and all that. Okay, so that's just a recommendation. So I think we are done. And
Brother Abdurrahman Abubakar hand is up.
Sorry, Prof, you were in the course of the presentation, you showed the way the drone used to map out the land to show the fertile land and the rest. But I can see in the mapping, the mapping is like in square and rectangular shape. Is that how the drone maps it, or it was customized to map it in that way? And that is one. Two, the drones, just like the way you told us the cost to run 1 hectare of farm between 5,000 to 10,000 ringgit. Please, may we know the cost of the drones, even though that some lecturers here in UPM have tried to develop the drone using the pineapple fiber and the rest. So I would like to know the cost of the drones, at least the cheapest ones, so that we can customize them. Thank you.
Okay, first, the one that you saw in square and rectangle, these are just schematic drawings. But usually when you use a real life situation, it might be like shapeless actually. It depends on the situation. So that one is not the real one. Just to demarcate and show you the differences. But in real life situation, no. It might take the contour of the farm. So that is one aspect. Now the drone is another issue, because It depends if you want to customize it. Let's say I want a drone that can only detect, let's say, like weeds. Let's say you are talking about, let's say, diseases or whatever. The price will be different. If I want a drone that will be able to tell me about soil properties, that will be different. But now we are going to work on drones that are going to detect some sort of fire in the forest. So these kind of drones, what I understand is if you want a good one that can carry a lot of seeds and planting or whatever, then you are talking about minimum of 5,000 ringgit minimum.
Okay, okay.
And the
Thank you.
drone can go up to 50,000. It depends on what you want and the volume.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
the
I know the
clarity.
one that you are talking about, the one who did with the pineapple fiber. I know him. Yes.
Oh, Prof. Tariq, yes. Composite. Yes. Okay.
He is now the director for UPM Press, I think.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this time I can take over. I think we can wrap up now, inshallah. Stamina, are you available?
Yes, please, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, take over, please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I've learned a lot. And for one thing that I've learned is that as individuals, we have to conscientize ourselves and conscientize our children to love agriculture, because I've had experiences where in senior high school, teachers actually disregard agriculture students. Sometimes they are being tagged as they're not smart students, so they are not being taken seriously. So if we can conscientize our children to love agriculture, then we have a very we have a very smooth way to go with agric. So that's what I have learned from agriculture, with a lot of things too. Thank you all for coming. Brad Geoffrey, please, if you are here, can you give us the closing remarks in both of tongues? Okay.
Wa alaikum salam. We can
Wa
hear
alaikum salam.
Please proceed.
MashaAllah. First of all, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity to have our father, our teacher, to listen to him and to learn from him. We thank him and we pray that Allah will bless his work that he's doing. We pray that Allah will bless his family. And we hope that one day this particular talk that we have had will be the beginning of a series of interactions that we'll have with him. I'm very happy that Brother Dr. Antaru mentioned a project. I'm sure Anur executive will take it up and see what we can do it together with Prof, inshallah. So we thank Prof and all those who have participated in this particular workshop. We pray that Allah will accept from us and add it to the scale of our good deeds. And we also thank anybody who have played a role in organizing this program, especially from the IT work. And I know Dr. Siraj has actually done a lot of work, and we pray that Allah will accept us and make it easy for us. And our MC, we also thank you for hosting this program to the successful end. May Allah accept from us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So please.
Thank you once again, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. So please, the recordings will be made available on our YouTube channel. I've shared it in the chat, the channel in the chat session. And you can also visit our website for more information, inshallah. Thank you. So those who want the certificate for of participation, you can send us email as well, but we'll take the information on it in the chat session too. But you can also send us email. I shared the email earlier, but let me just share it again. Sorry. So the email is shared. You can copy it and then you can sign out. Thank you and have a great day. Assalamu alaikum.
And brothers Raj, Jazakallah khairan, Jazakumullah khairan, all of you for organizing such a very thought-provoking lecture. We really benefited and we are really appreciative for the effort of An-Nur al-Islam, and we'll look forward for other programs, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, engineer. Okay. My regards to everybody. Thank you.